Schaefer. Was that you, ma'am? Were you able to get service on Mr. Wood? Because I didn't see it.
Notice that he was served again.
I didn't either. So why don't you come on up here to that table? And so what do you wish to have happen today? Well, because again, we can't go forward without proof of service.
I understand.
So we can reissue it one more time if you wish to do that. And then in the sheriff's office, we did get from that they weren't able to serve him. So I guess the question is, what do you wish to do?
I think he's pretty smart in avoiding being served because he knows that if he doesn't get served, that nothing can happen. And so, because I see him at the house all the time.
Okay.
I'm literally like locking myself in my house. When I have to leave, I make a mad dash for my car and stuff and get out of there. I'm terrified of him.
Okay. So again, all I can do is just reissue it and then give you a chance to further serve him. And you can, there are people who do this for a living, private process servers.
I understand but I cannot afford that.
Okay.
I can't afford to pay somebody to have him served.
Okay. Well, we can do this one more time. We can try it with the sheriff's office. And then if you come back, we'll reset it for 2 weeks. And if that's not successful, we can talk about some way of alternative services of some sort.
I would appreciate it because I take care of my grandkids at my house.
Okay. So we'll redo and then we send out the sheriff's. We've been sending out the sheriff's office. So we'll reset the, hang on just a minute. You're Ms. Schaefer, correct?
Yes. My grandchildren don't need to be exposed to his behavior.
Right. So I'm not disagreeing with you, ma'am. I'm just saying I can't enter an order without proof of service.
I understand
So
that.
we're going to give you another notice here right now. You can try again with the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And then that'll be it for the day. And we'll see you back here on 2 weeks from today, which would be the 21st.
Okay.
And then he'll give you that paper. Once you get that, you're free to go.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Schaefer, Antoinette Schaefer. And Mr. Wood. Yeah, you come on up and take a seat there. You can put your hand down. And then how is it you need an order against Mr. Wood?
Well, I'm terrified of him from the incidents that he did last year. And I submitted pictures of the intimidating messages that he leaned up on with a plywood facing my house so that I had no choice but to see it as I left. And also when I was gone, he threw a backpack into my yard so that I would have to see it and stuff. And all this isn't stuff that he's referencing is towards my older son directed at me. And I don't care like what he wrote on there and stuff. I don't care. And he also actually just made comments to me just last week as I was returning home and closing the gate to my driveway. And
what does he say?
He's asking where my son is, but not using my son's name, using some woman's name.
Okay, so how'd all this start?
Well, last year, stuff, he was shooting up the neighborhood and he aimed a gun at one of our neighbors and he physically tried to assault my son. I had to get involved in between them. He ran his car, almost hitting my son's girlfriend's car that was parked in front of my garage.
Well, this backpack, what's his backpack about?
I have no idea.
Well, what's in it?
I didn't look at it. I just took a picture. It had writing on it. I didn't notice what the writing was and stuff. I don't want to be harassed by him. I am afraid of him.
Was he set what do these signs say?
It said something about tell, so-and-so, whatever, or Russell, whatever, I know, like, I don't care what he knows.
Russell, your son?
Russell is my son.
He doesn't live there anymore.
He does not live there.
Okay.
I don't want to be harassed by him.
All right. Well, let me hear from, put your hand down. What's this all about?
It's just about a little bit of an incident. And, it's in the past, and I've let it go, and I've just dropped it. And
Well-
I've never made any comments to her or anything about that.
What about these signs?
It's just so the incident was because I found her son was a cross-dresser and he had lipstick and eyeshadow on, and yeah, and it was an incident with a website and stuff
Okay,
like that.
so-
But I've dropped it.
I mean, why does any of that matter? I mean, the only real appropriate answer is it doesn't. So do those signs still up there?
No.
When did they come
It's
down?
gone. It's gone. It's in the trash.
What's the story on this backpack?
That
You even,
wasn't mine.
ma'am, how long ago did the signs come down?
Well, he put it up and it was gone after.
I know, how long
Like-
ago did this happen?
I've been trying to get him served for a month.
No, I know, when.
So
which-
right before the first original time when I first filed, it was like the week prior.
I see. And then you saying he would yell things at her?
Last week, he tried talking to me and whatever, asking me about where my son was. And because of what he did last summer,
What did he do last summer?
he revved his car out of his driveway and stuff and did donuts, almost hitting my son's girlfriend's car.
All right.
And he tried to assault my son. He's come onto my property trying to assault my son. And my son does not live there anymore.
And do you guys explain to me where you live?
I'm at the very back of a cul-de-sac and he is off to the left. And
But all in the same
all in the
cul-de-sac?
same
But you don't,
vicinity.
Yeah. I just go to work and mind my own business. I'm trying to just I've dropped it all.
All right.
And I won't. I'll be quiet.
He has.
it's just one at a time, ma'am. Okay.
And I've changed and trying to be good and not be in trouble anymore. I've got got out of jail and just, trying to get my life back on the right track.
All right. What do you think about what he just said, ma'am?
He has mental issues. He is a drug addict.
Okay, so no, I mean, did you hear what he said?
I heard what he
Okay, I'm
said.
asking you to respond to that.
I don't trust that.
All right. So, all right, here's what I'm going to do today here, Mr. Wood. And I mean, it's based on the testimony and the exhibits that have been submitted. So I'm going to find that a pattern of harassment did occur. It may have stopped now, which is a good thing. So hear me out for a second. So I'm going to enter an order, but it's not going to have a distance restriction. It's not going to affect where you live. It's not going to, shouldn't affect your job or anything like that. You're just not she's not a part of your life. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And so don't go onto her property. Don't, I can't do an order that prevents him from coming to and from his home. You're just she and her son, they're just not a concern of yours. Okay, and then we'll give you copies of that order when you leave here. Give me just a minute here.
Thank you.
Don't have any contact with her, don't cause her any harm. Don't engage in stalking behavior, and don't come onto her premises, and that's it. Wait a minute, you can both get copies of this, and then you can be on your way. Anna Jones is also here, right? We'll come back to that.
I'm here, but requesting a continuance if I can, please.
Okay, and what's the basis for that? You just got served here recently, is that correct?
Yes, and I'm
Can you come on your camera, please?
Oh.
Activate your camera.
absolutely.
And Ms. Kenny, I'll have you do the same.
Hi, Your Honor.
Hi there. So I was looking in the file there, and it was a fairly late service. I'll give her a chance to respond. And so we'll probably do the same thing that I did we're going to reset this for 2 weeks, and then we'll have a contested hearing on that time.
Okay, an attempt was made earlier to serve her.
I know, but sometimes things happen. That's just where we're at.
Okay.
And so it's generally my practice to allow one-time set over given the late service. And then we'll be back here 2 weeks from today. You got it. Great. All right. You folks are free to go. A copy of the notice of hearing will get emailed to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Ms. Kenny, you can come on the Zoom call, please. And then it looks like Ms. Stanton, are you here with
Good morning, Your Honor. My client is not with me, but she is present on the Zoom platform.
Ma'am, Ms. Jones, could you come on, unmute and come on the Zoom call, please?
Yes.
Where are you in? I'll hear from you first.
Okay.
Ms. has an attorney on the Zoom call, Ms. Stanton, and then I'm going to hear from you. She may ask you some questions. She may not. Sometimes attorneys do that. Sometimes they don't. I will tell everyone at the beginning, a number of declarations have been filed on behalf of everybody. I've reviewed all those prior to coming on, listening to this case. And so with that, Ms. Kenny, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. And how is it you need an order against Ms. Jones?
Good morning, Your Honor. I am here today to seek relief from someone who I cannot fully remove from my life. My partner's ex-girlfriend and mother to two of his children, Shanna Jones. I have read the objections to her order, and I want to make clear that I am here today for one reason. Since entering this relationship over 2 years ago, I have been the victim of harassment and threats that recently escalated into physical intimidation and contact that for the first time made me feel unsafe and scared. Shanna has openly despised my presence since 2022. She has a long documented history of harassing me via social media messengers. It was very common for her to send ranting, vile, and hateful messages to me that I would not respond to. My partner Ethan and Shanna co-parent 2 children. I have been active in their lives, and Shanna makes it clear that I am not welcome. She frequently reminds me that, and I quote, "I will never be their mother," and doesn't seem to understand I have no desire to replace or remove her from their lives. The online harassment and messaging have decreased since 2022. Shanna has remained hostile when we are both attending family events. She often yells comments indirectly like F and B, stupid B, or questions loudly to others why I'm even there. These comments are clearly directed towards me. When we are interacting with the kids, she will often position herself in a manner to box me out, and she cannot pass any opportunity to express her anger. For example, I recently tried to hand Jameson his football helmet he forgot to take with him, and Shanna forcefully yanked it from my hands. The kids participate in football and cheerleading programs that I was active in until Shanna demanded that I not be communicated with, citing that I am not their mother. This was not an issue that she raised with me, but since this time, I have only attended cheer on the weekends that the kids are scheduled to stay with us. Friday, September 20th, which was Ethan's court-awarded time, Shanna was joined by her family at the game. Her family treats me with the same hostility, but this time was different. On this night, Shanna's mom, Stacia Jones, gave Jameson a hug to say goodbye. As she stood up and walked past me, she shoulder-checked me. She was unapologetic and glared at me while Shanna said goodbye to Jameson. As I went to leave, Shanna objected to me taking Jameson with me to meet Ethan, even though he was a short distance away. Shanna's Aunt Samantha yelled, "You're not their mom, you dumb bee," and the group began to berate me. I was shocked that they were preventing me from leaving and intent on instigating some kind of problem. Ethan was in earshot of this unfolding and appeared through the crowd. We began to make an exit, but the 3 women took turns screaming insults as we moved away. It was audible for more than a minute as we moved rapidly. I was afraid that the group was committed to furthering this problem and convinced that they were following it. I passed an officer from the Lacey Police Department and I asked her for help. I believe that I am unsafe and in need of protection because this family has demonstrated that they are impulsive and unable to control their worst behaviors. They all said that they want to protect the kids, but each of them took turns riling each other up, and not one of them chose to be the voice of reason or calm. Their actions have shown that this matter is territorial, and I am convinced more than ever they will amplify their hostility until they achieve their intended goal of pushing me away. I received Shanna's filings on Friday. I have reviewed the screenshots Shanna and her brother Tim exchanged with someone named Nicole Jackson. I am not impersonating this person, and I don't know who this person is. It is clear that their family is convinced they are messages from me or Ethan. In these screenshots, threats are made. There are sections that are removed from their submissions of these messages, and I feel increasingly unsafe after reading them. Ethan's truck was vandalized last week in front of our home, and it now feels less coincidental. After speaking to Officer Howard that night, I realized this is how her family operates, and it will never get better. I fear I will always be the focus of intimidating acts and aggression if nothing is done. That is the only reason why I'm here today, to seek relief.
Ms. Stanton, do you have any questions you wish to ask Ms. Kenny?
No. I would like to just do a closing argument when the court's ready.
Okay. Do you wish to have your client testify? I mean, there's things in the file, but
We'll stand on the statement that she provided and the witness statements.
just a minute. In reading the file, does Ms. Does Ms. Jones have an order against the father of her children? An anti-harassment order of some kind?
Restraining order.
Yeah, but it's a no contact order,
It's a
anti-harassment
do not disturb order.
Ms. Kenny,
Credible
Ms. Kenny, I can only talk to one person at a time. And if two people are talking at me, I can't understand either one. Okay. So I'll give you a chance to respond, but I'm speaking with Ms. Stanton right now, and I'll come back and talk to you in a minute. But yeah, go ahead, Ms. Stanton.
Yes, there was a restraining order that was entered in the family law case that has a do not disturb, and it also required him to forfeit all of his firearms because of concerns and issues that he had.
I see. But it's, I mean, is it no contact? Like, don't come within X amount of feet of?
No, they only gave a do not disturb the peace. But I believe that what's been happening has been disturbing the peace, and that's why I provided it.
Got it. So Ms. Kenny, I will come. You wanted to say something?
I was just going to say it's do not disturb the peace. A credible threat was not checked on the order, and the rep and surrender is only temporary, pending evaluations that have been completed, and temporary orders, they're not fact.
What's the parenting plan say? And I'm asking you, Ms. Kenny, is there a parenting plan in place, and
There's temporary orders. We have Ethan has Jameson and Cosette every other Thursday to Monday. They go back, I believe, just the middle of December for final orders.
I see. All right, so Ms. Stanton, so what's going to happen now there, Ms. Kenny, is I'm going to hear from Ms. Stanton. She's resting on the declarations and document, which I've read. And I'm going to hear from her. Then I'll give you the final word here. All right. Ms. Stanton, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. I do want to object to her witness statements because they're clearly people who do not have direct knowledge. Ms. Jones is the custodial parent of 2 children, ages 7 and 8, and she had a legitimate reason to want to participate in and to watch her children at the events that she registered them for and she paid for. And she would not do anything that would jeopardize her status as primary parent. Ms. Kinney is the live-in girlfriend of the children's father. After separation, he was getting every other weekend. And Miss Jones finally, after 2 years, asked for child support. And that's when things changed. And Miss Kinney and Ethan were both cornering her, taking the children from her at events, and bullying and threatening her. Miss Kinney at one point was saying, "I bet you won't say anything to my face," at an exchange. She was intimidated and afraid, but she was told by the police that she needed to not make a scene, and you can't just have arm wrestling over the children. So she allowed the children to go over her objection, and she went to court because the police told her to get a parenting plan in place. She also received the restraining order that included the surrender of firearms. She denies all of the allegations. She would never speak the way that they have said that. Those are not her words. And she would never ask third parties to reach out on media. Miss Jones is the one that signed them up for the football and the cheer. And the father decided to sign up as a line coach on the side. He had no prior history of volunteering. I'm assuming it was for show for the family law case. Miss Kinney decided that she would attend all the practices and games so that there was always an opportunity to harass Miss Jones. Miss Jones blocked her on social media 2 years ago and intentionally goes out of her way to not have contact with her. The messages are old. They were at a period of time when Ethan was going back and forth between these 2 women, and it was causing some antagonizing, manipulating, and disrespect. And my client was not perfect. She did apologize, but Miss Kinney also apologized. We attached both of those so the court could see that they were both apologizing for their behavior. At the children's games, Ms. Jones will only say things like, "Can I please have my personal space?" or "Could I please be left alone?" But she's always very respectful to her because she's doing this in front of the kids. She doesn't want the kids to see any ugliness. And she wants to stay respectful, hoping that that will be passed back toward her as well. Miss Kinney will usually say things like, I don't have to, and go get Ethan and start fighting with her. Miss Kinney was removed from the cheer coach group because of the hostilities between them. And she also took her daughter's cheer uniform. This is something my client paid for, but she felt the need to take it and to not provide it over to the daughter. Miss Kinney has yelled at her in front of the children on multiple occasions, saying things like, grow up. They both will gang up on her. It comes this bullying aspect where 2-on-1 against her. She has a legitimate right to be present at these children's events. Miss Kinney has no children there. Miss Jones does talk to her children at the events, which she should have a right to discuss, say hello, say goodbye, tell them that she's proud of them. Those are reasonable things that normal parents will do. Last year, Miss Kinney got in her face when her son was crying. It was at the exchange. The son did not want to go. Miss Jones was trying to console him, and Miss Kinney was there in her face trying to take the child. It didn't need to go this way. This is just how Miss Kinney is. Miss Kinney has a long pattern of not respecting her boundaries. Ms. Jones reached out to her attorney about the harassment in August on 2 different occasions, and to the guardian ad litem in the family law case on 9/18, which we did provide that to the court. Also on 9/20, she called the police as well because she truly believed that what was occurring was a violation of the court order because it was disturbing her peace. All of the witnesses that came on 9/20 all corroborate what my client is saying, that this did not go down this way. The maternal grandfather, Tim Jones, attends nearly every practice and game. He was present on 9/14 and 9/20. He witnessed her give a hug and a kiss before the game, and there was no stare, clenching fists, cursing, or threats. These are fabrications, and the daughter never said any of these things. The maternal grandmother, Stacia Jones, also was present on 9/20, and she watched Shanna, Sam, and Gracelyn all go over and say hello and give a hug, and Miss Kinney was not spoken to. She also says that she's also very polite, that at the end of the game that she went over to wanting to give the grandson a hug, and she said, excuse me, and that it was Miss Kinney that stepped on the back of her shoe and bumped her, which caused her to lose her balance and almost fall. But she says that she did nothing that was rude, that Miss Jones did nothing that was rude, and that it was her that lost it and started screaming at them. Samantha Bell is the aunt. Samantha Bell also wrote in that she's known Ethan since 2012, and obviously Miss Jones her whole life, that she was there on 9/20, and she confirms that all 3 of them just went there to say hello, that it was approximately 1 minute. There was a hug and a hello and a goodbye. At the event, when they wanted to say goodbye, they wanted to also see the daughter because the daughter had not been present. Only the son had been present in the beginning of the event. And so they went down there to say hello to her, and they saw Jameson. They wanted to tell him what a great job he did. And that's when Miss Kinney started shouting that he was on the field. Didn't you see him? And things started escalating. And then the father came over screaming and angry and dragging the daughter. Go ahead.
If I'm understanding you correctly, everything is Ms. Kinney's fault and Ms. Jones did nothing.
Well, I'm saying that Ethan also, I truly believe that this is done as positioning for Ethan in the future of the family law case, and that it's not based on the truth.
Okay.
It's just like,
but again, I mean, your clients, there was no sort of instigation from either your client or her family members, and everything, all the voice raising came from Ms. Kinney. Is that what you're telling me?
And Ethan as well. Both of them were yelling at my client's family, and the 12-year-old or 11-year-old flipped them off on the way out. So yes, that is our position, that this has been, my client in the family law case described a huge amount of domestic violence that was going on with Ethan, and she believes that this is just more of the same, that Ms. Kinney has joined in on it. That's part of the reason why they are cornering her 2-on-1 to take the children back before the parenting plan action started, was because they were both in on it together to take the kids from her. And so that is my client's position in this. But she also had multiple family members that were also present that all say it did not go down the way she's saying. And she has a legitimate and lawful right to go to her children's games that she paid for and registered the kids for, and to see them at those games. She's denying all of the allegations. There is no knowing and willful course of conduct to harass Ms. Kinney. There is a legitimate and lawful purpose for her to be there to see her kids. And we don't believe that there's any substantial emotional distress alleged or present in this case. Your Honor, there's no reason to order this anti-harassment, and it would be used as a weapon in the family law case if it is ordered to try to say that she's the bad actor in this case when the court previously found that Mr. Ethan Martin was the one who was the bad actor and needed the order. And so I believe it is positioning for this upcoming December hearing. And I'm asking the court not to enter it. It wasn't entered on a temporary basis and it should not be entered now. Thank you.
Ms. Kenny, I do have one question for you, and then I'll let you to respond to what I heard from Ms. Stanton. Ms. Stanton indicated that, I saw those apology texts, I guess would be the best way to put them, a couple of years ago. And then Ms. Stanton, I think, just told me, and I don't mean to mischaracterize what you said, but if I did, you could tell me, things were okay for a couple of years until Ms. Jones started asking for child support. And then that kind of started things back up again.
No, that apology was made. She cropped out the date on that apology for a reason. And I think she also submitted these pretty late. I received them on Friday, so I wasn't able to submit any documentation to prove a lot of her lies and her declarations. But that apology was made in November of 2022. And the majority of messages that I submitted are from January 30th of 2023. So it was
which is well over a year ago.
Right, but it was 2 months after she said that she apologized, and in her statement she said she has never veered, and that from that apology,
What happened
those are not
for the last year and a half? How have been things?
So the last about a year, we have had Jameson and Cosette 50% of the time. There was no parenting plan put in place. Shanna forced a foreclosure on a home that Ethan refused to give to her, and she refused to sell it. As soon as that happened, she had to move out and start paying her own rent. She took Ethan to court claiming that he has never had them 50% of the time, and it was only every other weekend. So that's kind of what their parenting plan it'll go through all of those weeds, and hopefully they have a order in December. But last year for Jameson's flag football season, I and Ethan both attended every single practice and game. She did not show up to the majority of those practices. She did attend games, and there was no issue between the two of us. We did not communicate, but we never cornered her. We never took children forcefully from her. Those are all made up. And then I am very respectful. I think that I'm very passive. I let her say goodbye to her kids. I understand that that is their mother. I give them space. But now that there's a do not disturb order in place between her and Ethan, she has made me the target again. Before, she would send Ethan messages, harassing him, even saying terrible things about me to him. And since she can no longer do that, she has made me her target yet again. And now she is including her family. All of her declarations are people that are clearly biased. They're made to make me and Ethan look like terrible people. And that's the same thing that they did in that in his custody case as well. It's all from the same family, and it's not true. None of her allegations are true. And I also put a public records request to get video footage from that night. They said it could take up to 30 days for me to get it. But I was not even standing directly next to Jameson when they were saying goodbye. Dallas was actually in the middle of us. So the mom intentionally went out of her way to bump into me, and she did it intentionally. She wanted to get a reaction out of me, which she did not get from me. And when I don't react, that's when they escalated the situation, and we chose to walk away. And I also want to say that Ethan has paid over $30,000 in child support. So this whole thing of him not paying and she pays for everything herself and she does everything herself, it's a lie. It's just to make him seem like a bad person. He coached their baseball this last season. She would not take the kids to baseball on her time, but he did coach that as well. So it didn't just start happening. He has been active in their life, and just our presence showing up is an issue for her.
Right. So here's, give me just a second. I'm ready to rule in the case. As I said before, unlawful harassment is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, or harasses. And I've heard, I get this frankly isn't all that uncommon. One side comes in and say, I didn't do anything. This person won't leave me alone. And then the other person comes in to respond, I didn't do anything. It's the other person who's causing all the problems. And so it's, I think you both need to understand, Ms. Jones, I'll speak directly to you, as long as Ms. Kenny and the father of your child are in a relationship, she's not going anywhere. She's going to hang out. And Ms. Stanton said on a number of occasions, well, you know, Ms. Jones, she has a right to be there. She has a right to be there as mother. And of course you do. But Ms. Kenny doesn't not have a right to be there. You know, she's involved in a relationship. Her significant other has children who participates in these events. She can come and watch them. There's no problem with that. That's actually a good thing, I would think. And the same is true for you, Ms. Kenny. You know, Ms. Jones isn't going anywhere. And I'm not going to find that one person was the cause of all this. It's generally my experience. It kind of takes two to tango, and we're here in court. And I really don't think we would be here if this was all just one way, which is a long way of saying at this time, you know, and somebody's told someone to grow up. And frankly, I think that's good advice for both of you. And so I'm not going to enter an order at this time. Not all conflict rises to the level of harassment. You two don't like each other. There's no question about that. And, you know, it's a lot of what you claim, Ms. Kenny, is, you know, all these family members are doing all this thing. But you know what? You didn't ask for orders against them. And if you have orders against them, you can bring them, but not, you know, getting an order. And so I'm not going to enter an order at this time. It doesn't, just because two people don't like each other and can't get along doesn't rise to the level of harassment. But it might if it keeps up. And both of you need to understand how you're conducting yourself in front of these children. I don't think a real great show is being put on for them. And you know, when everybody sits and points their finger, you know, it's not my fault, it's her fault. Well, it's not my fault, it's her fault. That's just not a good, it's just, you're not putting on a good show for these kids because they're watching and they're learning. And I don't think they're learning a whole lot from what's going on out there, a whole lot of good things for what's going on out there. So at this point, I'm going to deny the petition without prejudice. And again, I don't know if maybe if I do, you know, there's some mandatory transfer issues here, and sometimes in family court cases, you know, this might be better brought and litigated in the family law case rather than here. Although technically it might not qualify because it doesn't really affect a parenting plan, and jurisdiction hasn't been exercised against these two folks individually. But this seems to me to be wrapped up in the family law case on both sides, and so. Anyway, that's a long way of saying at this point, I'm denying the motion for an order, or denying the petition for an order. And I think both of you should probably take a good hard look at how you're conducting yourselves out there. And that's, you know, maybe that'll make both of you mad at me. I don't know, but that's the way I'm going to leave it here for today. And you're both, and Ms. Stanton, you're all free to leave the Zoom call. You can get a copy of the denial order off the Thurston County District Court website.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
You're welcome. So when did you get served, ma'am?
I got served on the 1st of October. They actually taped it to her duty.
Okay.
And I came in on the 1st. Finished filing everything on the Friday.
Okay, so are you prepared to go here this morning?
I didn't know if you had a chance to review everything and if the attorney did, because she has an attorney. So
I didn't see her attorney. Ma'am, Ms. Brady, do you have an attorney? I didn't see one that you had one.
Yes, some reason, the notification.
Who's your attorney?
Here, it's Chris Coker, but it got sent to my old attorney. Chris wanted to find out if we could address this at the 11 a.m. hearing this morning. Because he's in another hearing.
Is that on a criminal case?
So she was charged with.
I understand that. I so hang on just a second. So and I saw that Mr. Coker, he wanted to amend the order that was in place.
Correct.
Okay. And so the answer is no, you can't hear that at 11 a.m. That's in a criminal calendar in a different place.
Okay.
So, and did Mr. Coker know that you were a petitioner on a civil order too?
Yes, he's the one that suggested I put in a no contact order.
Okay. Is he going to be here?
No, he's in another hearing because he didn't get notified of this hearing. It went to my old attorney.
Okay.
I'm prepared.
Okay. I get it. And so are you aware of the hearing at 11 o'clock?
No, they never even told me about it.
Okay.
I found out about it when I came to file all the stuff.
Okay. So, and that's going to be, is that in courtroom 1?
I don't know. No, I was going to check after here. It's not
Hang on a second. Can you see if they got that's on the motion hearing? I saw that motion was filed. Look at actually I can do it. Hang on just a minute. You also go by Stacy Wolf, ma'am, or I did at one point?
My legal name is Stacy Brady. Ashley Hamilton filed my name incorrectly from.
Okay, so I'm just saying, okay,
Yes.
I'm asking at some point you're identified as Stacy Wolf in some cases. Because there is a Stacy Wolf on the calendar at 11 a.m. Is that your understanding?
Correct.
Is that
That's
correct?
me.
Okay. So, well, this case is not going to be heard then, because I'm pretty confident, well, actually know for a fact that I didn't know this was on there. And I bet the attorney or the judge who's hearing that calendar, which is not me, he didn't know that was going to be on there either. So, okay. You available next week, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ms. Brady, we're just going to reset this for, was this just a notice of hearing only?
Yeah, this is
Okay. So we're going to reset this next week at 9 a.m. and then Mr. Coker will need to be here then. Apparently, ma'am, there's a hearing and I see that she was a defendant in a criminal case. There's a motion for an adjustment on that order at 11 in courtroom number 1. And so might not be a bad idea for everyone to be in the same room there.
Yeah.
So Ms. Brady, a copy of the notice of hearing will get sent to you by email, because I believe we do have your email address. You're going to get a copy of this right now, and then we'll reconvene.
And what was the date? You gave me the time.
14th, October 14th.
Oh, thank you.
So before we get started, my understanding of where we're at here is there's Ms. And it's a Brady or Wolf, by the way? Brady. Ms. Brady entered an SOC a while ago over an incident that occurred in 2021.
Correct.
And there's a no contact order in place where Ms. Hamilton is, or Ms. Brady is not to have any contact or come within 250 feet of Ms. Hamilton. There was some misunderstanding about that, whether or not that affects where she can be, Ms. Brady can be on her own property. I understand there was a hearing last Monday, and it was clarified that although the 250 feet distance restriction exists, that doesn't affect where Ms. Brady, can be on her property, in the sense that if Ms. Hamilton were to come by over the easement, which I think is the underlying issue here, and Ms. Brady just happens to be on next to the line, next to that, maybe 5-10 feet away, that's not a violation of the order, even though she may be within 250 feet. It doesn't affect where she can be on her property. My understanding, there was a hearing on that on Monday. That was all clarified in the sense that that's not a violation of the order in that particular situation. And my greater question is, can that resolve? Because I understand that there was, again, these are just allegations, but in the petition, when Ms. Hamilton would come down, she'd honk the horn saying, hey, get 250 feet away. Well, do I really need to be 250 feet away? No, we don't. Maybe that would eliminate all that. And so my question is, I guess I'll ask you first because you're the petitioner. Do we really need to go forward right now that we have an understanding of the parameters of the order, or can we just send you back out there, see how things go, and then if additional problems arise, then you can bring it back?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and that's something I looked at this. So the dilemma we have as a petitioner is this, and as this court's aware, it's always somewhat problematic when the court imposes a no contact order in a neighbor situation. Court, I know, is reluctant typically to do that unless it's absolutely necessary. In this case, this order was not put in place through the civil process, it was put in through the criminal process. What that's done is given Ms. Hamilton license, whether she thinks she can or not, to, and again, the videotape, the evidence we've submitted is pretty clear what she's doing. That is not the activity of someone who's trying to maintain distance. It's not somebody who's trying to maintain copacetic relationship. It's actions of somebody that's trying to instigate, clearly, by her videoing, the honking the horn, the stopping, in spots where so she can see. That's continued, just so the court's aware. The most recent event occurred just the other night. So we are still prepared to move forward. We would love this to stop, but we believe that Ms. Hamilton's actions, while they might have been in some form under the context or the umbrella of her belief that she could do this, she's intentionally doing things that was what in her mind would put Miss Brady at risk, and then was threatening and yelling, "I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the police," and that's what she's done. So I do think a significant risk still exists. I'm not convinced that Ms. Hamilton understands the nature of the no contact order. And I think it's likely that she's going to continue to come onto Ms. Brady's property. I think she's going to continue to stop in the driveway and try to instigate either Ms. Brady or her visitors. And again, like I said, there's been some issues recently where, I mean, again, I don't expect this to change this. So I think we are asking to move forward today. I understand the court's concerns. I understand the court's thoughts. I understand the court's questions. But this is honestly one of the I've never seen the behavior that I've seen from Ms. Hamilton in this case, from somebody who is going out of their way to try to get violations of a no contact order. This is not happening at a grocery store. This is happening at on a driveway that is right next to my client's property. So I do think a no contact order would remain necessary.
Okay, so Ms. Hamilton, again, no, I haven't sworn in anyone yet. I'm not going to swear you in now. If we proceed to hearing, I will. But what's your general thoughts on? You're the respondent here. You heard what Mr. Coker has said. You heard my question.
I think that there's a half truth that's being presented. Like there's always two sides to those stories.
Sometimes more than that.
Yeah. So if you look at the evidence that I submitted, it shows that the only time that I have videotaped is when there is a possible violation or there is her harassing me. So there's also her boyfriend videotaping me while I'm just taking my trash can down to the end of my driveway. I come around the corner and he's videotaping me. So it's more of me having a camera readily available because I am a single mom of 3 kids that has to walk 605 feet down a driveway. Anytime I videotaped is when she is doing something to me.
All right, well, we'll swear in your, I've reviewed your, we'll swear in your client there, Mr. Coker, and we'll get underway. I see she looks like she has a number of people with her. And so if you're going to call them as witnesses, we can do that in turn.
I don't anticipate calling them as witnesses.
Okay.
One of Mr. Bliss is present. He has a declaration in there. There's also a different definition from Mark Murphy, but I only anticipate getting some brief testimony from Miss Brady.
Okay. So hang on just a minute. I need to call this case up. Ms. Brady, could you raise your right hand? You swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can put your hand down. And go ahead, Mr. So the way this normally, when people aren't represented by attorneys, I just have people testify in narrative form. In that Ms. Brady does have an attorney here, I'm going to allow Mr. Coker to ask questions. At the end of that, I'm going to ask you if you have any questions for her, and I want those questions to go through me to her. Or if you just want to wait, I'll swear you in, and then I'll hear from your side of the story too. However you want to do it is fine. But in any case, Mr. Coker, you may go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Stacy, you submitted a declaration along with your petition you filed in this matter, correct?
Correct.
And why did you originally file this petition that we're here for today?
Well, because Mrs. Hamilton's behavior keeps escalating as far as she's harassing me, stalking me. One instant that happened recently, I was walking down from my horse's barn with my dog. She came down the driveway and I was going into my backyard and she stopped on the driveway easement. She was walking, I was walking with my dog to go home and she stopped to videotape me. Why? I wasn't doing anything but just walking from my barn to my house. Another recent was when she came home, honked because she saw me outside, not anywhere near the driveway, honked, allowed her youngest daughter to open the gate. She pulls through, gets out of her car and starts videotaping myself and Mark Murphy.
Is that the video that's in the record that Mr. Murphy took?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then they engaged in a conversation. And the whole time I just stood with my back to her. I did not ask Mark to video. I don't do that because I don't believe in videotaping people all the time when they're just enjoying their property. Another instance, she had videotaped my boyfriend who was on his phone doing some eBay, and she was walking down the driveway and she stopped to videotape him and was shouting at him. And she has trespassed on our property 3 times. Just recently, it was a package that wasn't even mine that was put at my front door. And I just feel she...
What are the other 2 times?
Huh?
What are the other 2 times? I saw a video of there was video.
Oh yeah, the other time she came to the front door, knocked on the door. Luckily, Howard answered the door and not myself because she was giving us some of our mail that got delivered to her. The very first time she went up by our shop to speak to Howard about the driveway, and Howard goes, "You need to talk to the property owners about whatever maintenance you want to do. We have nothing to do with that." And she proceeded to tell Howard at that time, "I would love to talk to Stacy, but I know I can't because of the order."
I don't know who Howard is.
Oh, sorry.
And there's a declaration from Howard. So do you feel like an order is necessary?
Her behavior keeps escalating, as in she's trying to do anything she can to get me to violate the order she has against me. I've had no contact with her in over 2 years, at least. I want nothing to do with her. I just want to be left alone. But for some reason, she feels she needs to stop on the driveway whenever she sees us outside and videotape me just I could be doing horse chores, washing a car, and I don't even mow my own lawn anymore in fear of her coming home and trying to entice me to react to her harassment.
And Judge Meyer indicated that we had the order modified, I think a week ago today. Yes. Have there been any events since then?
Since last week? No, I know last night, it was just odd behavior, but she came down, took her garbage can down, and proceeded, as she was walking up the driveway, proceeded to pull out her cell phone, went on her video, stuck it back in her pocket, and continued to walk up her driveway as she kept her hand in that pocket. I'm just assuming, but it was odd behavior that, why would you have your phone out if you're just putting your garbage can out?
I have no further questions.
Do you have any questions you wish to ask Ms. Brady? And if you're going to give your side of the story, then I'm just going to swear you in and I'll hear from you. But you asked questions about her, about what she just said.
So she asked the question, or she had stated that.
And again, ma'am, if you're going to rebut what she said, let me swear you in first. Could you raise your hand now, please?
Can I ask a question? Oh, yeah, you just swear me in. So that, yeah, I'll swear in.
Do you swear for me information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
So there was I wanted to know, where does her property line start for her property, not her parents' property?
I'm going to object, I guess, to relevance. There's an easement, it's an issue.
And that's not really, that doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Because if she lives there and she occupies that area, she's entitled to be there. And so it's not going to, you know, and then we can't get out there with a measuring stick and say, okay, well, you can be 250 feet from the line to be there, whether it's hers or her parents, and she's there, and it's not, that's just the way that's going to work.
So there was, she had brought up that I had approached Howard and that there was a declaration that was submitted and I never received a copy of the declaration of Howard. But the day that she's talking about in regards to me talking to Howard, I pulled up on the side of the easement, which they actually have video footage. So if they're stating that I said and did X, Y, and Z, I had a conversation with him and said, it was right after we had dropped our lawsuit in regards to the harassment that was happening with the easement stuff that was in Superior Court. I believe that was the right court. But I had a conversation saying that I've never asked, and I wasn't talking to Stacy. I asked Howard if I could come talk to him, had a conversation saying, I know the easement instructions states that both properties are supposed to maintain this. I've noticed that there hasn't been any type of weed eating or mowing done, and I would like to just start amends. And I even had that conversation with their attorney saying, I just, after dropping this, would just like to have peace and live peacefully. And so I said, I would like to be able to help in some way, if I could help mow the lawn or weed eat. And he said, yeah, Ron has hurt his back and he hasn't been able to get to it. So if you're wanting to help with that, go ahead. I left, had no altercation, any like bad blood, no arguments, no nothing. He said, God bless you, thank you. And I walked off the property. The next day, a friend of mine came and weeded it and mowed the shared easement. Then talking about the mail packages, there was a package that was delivered right to our address. I walked over, set it down and walked away. I don't know what somebody's supposed to, yeah, I don't know what somebody's supposed to do. Do you just leave mail there? I mean, I didn't even have any confrontation, any talk, whatever. I just put it over there. So anytime that I have had anything, the last altercation that she's talking about me honking, my daughter got out the vehicle. There was somebody next to her and he ended up doing indecent exposure and shouting at us and pulled his pants down. And that's why the officer got called and the 250 feet was brought up in regards to that also. Because I had minors in the car, I had a conversation with the officers. And anytime that we're having any type of testimonial thing, I mean, even the officer that responded last time said that when they were talking about what happened and this happened, they kept going back and forth on their testimony. And then the declaration and the officer's testimony of the write-up from the day that they came from the case, they conflict with each other. First, she said she wasn't out there, she wasn't doing this, she wasn't doing that, and then her story changes with her declaration, which is up every single time. The other day that she's talking about, that's because they decided to, then the first time they keep altering the roadway. And when I got out, my vehicle, I was noticing how deep the easement was, like how they had dug the trenches. And I look over and she's laughing and videotaping me. And that's when I started videotaping her. And then an officer came out and responded and they had over $500 worth of damages to their vehicle. I had to go get my vehicle assessed. It was $460.
When was that?
That was, I believe, January. Carissa Watson.
Of 2024?
Of this year, yeah.
Okay. What's the state of the easement now?
It's worse. It keeps changing. They just changed. They moved the boulders. They moved even closer. And the officer, she had submitted in there from the evidence that they put that she's actually pressing charges against the mother now because of the issues with it. I'm court ordered to sell my home, and my real estate attorney, I tried reaching out to her former attorney. He didn't respond. So my real estate agent went and said, we have the house packed up. This was in July. Sorry, rewind. The first time I reached out, I submitted for evidence, but I think it kicked it back because I submitted it wrong. But I emailed Cody Brandstatter, and it was, I believe, around May or June, and I didn't get a response. I let him know that I would be selling my home in July. This would resolve all of these issues if she doesn't want me next to her of her breaking her order. And I submitted an email to him. He didn't respond. I moved forward with packing up my home, had all of the stagers come out, the landscapers, everybody. My real estate agent told me that there was no way that we could list the home. It's a liability. We have to fix this easement. So she contacted them. We were gonna pay to fix the whole road. And I said, don't touch it, because last time we fixed it, they dug it up and said, this is our property. You can't touch it. And it became an altercation. So I asked her to reach out. So she reached out. She had a conversation with them. They told her, you touch this road, we will dig it right back up. But if you leave it alone and pay us $7,500, we'll fix it how we want to, and we'll leave it alone. My real estate agent came back and said, I'm sorry, I don't know where to go with this, and I'm sorry you're walking through this, but we can't list the home. So I'm out of compliance with a judge for a divorce. I submitted a declaration for my ex-husband. I submitted multiple declarations about the harassment that anytime any of my guests come through, they're getting cussed at, they're getting yelled at. She even says in the assault video that I submitted, what, these trenches weren't deep enough for you the first time? How about I get on my tractor and go back and dig it up again? In addition to that, I have her videotaped throwing my trash everywhere. I can't even bring my trash.
Okay, so ma'am, I'm just looking about what the what's been going on lately. I didn't hear anything about trash, but because you submitted some declarations about the underlying event back in 2021. That's not really what I need to know about. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's if she's so worried about harassment and about what I'm doing to her, then why not allow me to move, and you won't even have to deal with me? I've sat here and I've walked out. I'm a ministry leader and I've really had to walk out. Love thy neighbor. I've sat here and I have told the courts that I don't want anything but peace and I want to separate from this. And they're not even allowing me and my kids to leave.
Okay. So, Mr. Coker, do you have any questions of Ms. Hamilton?
I don't.
Okay. Do you have any witnesses to call on her behalf?
On behalf of Ms. Brady?
Ms. Brady,
no
yes.
additional witnesses.
Okay. All right. So I'll hear from you, and then I'll hear. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Just it's a brief argument.
Yeah, I'll hear from you, and then. So now I've heard your version of the story. I've heard their version of the story. So I'm going to allow him to argue, and then I'll allow you to respond. But again, we're away from the facts. But anyway, go ahead, Mr. Coker.
Thank you, Your Honor. So obviously the court's seen the record, the court's seen the documents submitted by Ms. Hamilton, and it talks about an easement and issues on an easement and the legality of speed dips or speed bumps or whatever they're doing.
I remember that.
Right. So, Your Honor,
it's not the first instance I've seen something like that, by the way.
Me neither. Yeah, me neither. It's a common theme. But in any event, what we have here is, I think the evidence, and again, I find it somewhat disturbing that we have Ms. Hamilton. The court's seen the videos we've submitted. We have this person who's saying, love thy neighbor. She wants peace. The evidence is completely contrary to that position. What we have is very, very, very passive-aggressive behavior on the part of the respondent here. She says, oh, all she wants is peace. All she wants is these things. But the court's, again, seen the video that we have of her.
What's your position on, again, this is may or may not be related here, but she sounds like she wants to sell this thing, but she can't, given the way they're messing around with the easement. Was there a response to that? I mean, I did. Yeah. It's kind of a different thing that I've heard. Yeah. So I know the easement's the underlying issue here, but
yeah, I don't know anything. And I would disagree. I mean, again, if the easement was the foundational issue here, and I think there's been other things that have compounded this. So I'm not aware of any court order or whatever. Maybe it's a divorce thing. Or
sounds
whatever.
like it's in a divorce where the house has to be sold.
Right.
I know you're familiar with that.
Yep. And so as it relates to easements, this court's aware that if I own an easement, if you have an easement across my property, I can put a gate up as long as I give you access. I can put in speed bumps so long as they are reasonable, and whatever that is the legal definition of reasonable. And I can do things to control the use so long as I continue to allow ingress and egress, or whatever the easement is defined for. So what this has turned into, and we've seen the declaration from a sheriff deputy at the time, who's, it's always the cars getting damaged. We could be throwing evidence at everyone else about, they're peeling out in the easement, doing all this stuff, but that's, again, not why we're here. In terms of whether or not she can't sell the house, I find that suspect at best. I haven't seen anything from a real estate agent that says that. Obviously, I think that my clients would probably love the fact if she moved, quite frankly. They have no desire to keep her there for obvious reasons. So if that's an issue, I don't represent Ms. Brady on that particular matter. But I've never heard that a real estate agent would say, well, we can't sell this because of an easement issue related to this. I mean, obviously, if there was an access issue to the property, that'd be different. But I guess if I was going to buy that property, I'd want to know what the heck was going on. And I might look at it, do a little investigation and see what's going on. I'd probably go meet the folks that the seller has the issue with. But would I expect an easement to prevent the sale of a home? That would surprise me under these circumstances. So, but getting down to this, Your Honor, again, from a passive aggressive standpoint, this is an example of what happens when the courts or the system or even mistakes made by Ms. Brady in the past give an individual perceived or real power to become a victim. And then you see what happens in this case. What happens when somebody that perceives themselves as a victim does everything they can to try to continue to become a victim and be a victim, and that is go on to the alleged victimizer's property, stop and antagonize the alleged perpetrator. That's harassment. That's unnecessary. It's stalking, the videoing, the honking of the horn. The behavior in that one video, I think, is very telling. It paints a very different picture than what Ms. Hamilton portrays today versus what she portrays on any given day at 7 o'clock in the evening during the summertime when she's coming home. So I do think the evidence is sufficient in this case for a protection order to be granted in favor of Ms. Brady. And I think it's for the better it's for the better good, because it will prevent Ms. Hamilton from continuing the unnecessary and harassing behavior that she's been exhibiting for the last several months. So we're asking the court to grant the petition.
All right, I'll give you the final word there, Ms. Hamilton.
So I think you were actually the judge the last time. So if we look, what they've brought up in the past is that nothing's happened except for in these last couple months, which that is not the case. My daughters and I have been held in a spot where they're parking in front of us and behind us. They are zip tying a gate shut. They're bolting the gate shut. They are having their.
You've been able to get in and out. You have to get out of the car to do it, but
you've
been locked out.
I've been locked out. They've parked in front of me. They've parked behind. They've done it to my guests. They've zip tied the gate shut. So I had to go and get bolt cutters to be able to cut the gate to get in and out. I've had to call authorities every single time. They've put this big chain around the gate that I couldn't even cut it. And so I'm sitting there trying to struggle. They're talking about having ingress access. I don't get any packages delivered. I submitted that as evidence. EMS vehicles cannot respond to my home. So if he's commenting in regards to the fact that it's a safe place, then I would suggest maybe he try driving over it so he can give a better justification of what it is, because the deputies have given, it's 8 feet wide and I'm supposed to have a 20-foot easement. It is a foot deep, a foot wide of depths. And in addition, they put random deep potholes here, like rocking on it. The day that I got served on October 1st, I didn't even get served at my property because the deputy won't even drive up the driveway. They actually taped it to her gate. That's how I found out I was served. So I have people from Instacart that have left messages saying they're going to sue me because they're going to report me to Instacart because this road is horrendous. You have a deputy that's pressing charges because they had over $500 worth of damages to their vehicle on a response to my 911 call because of things that occurred. They're telling their deputies not to drive up because it's causing damage. I have to drive over this every single day. That is why the real estate agent that I set a declaration with said that she cannot even sell this home because it's a liability to anybody that trespasses across that easement. I don't mind paying to fix this easement and getting it done so I can sell my house and leave. We have sat here and been cornered. I've had stuff not been able to get trash serviced. I've had my mailbox plowed over. I've had my gate plowed over. There's 4 years worth of harassment. So to have a phone taken away that I can't record because she can't get caught, then that's on her. She's so scared of being videotaped. Think about the things that her and her family have done to me and my girls. And I'm a single mom of kids by myself.
So I'm ready to rule here. And with regard to, before we start, I'm just going to give some definitions. Harassment, unlawful harassment is defined as a series of acts, is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, or is such detrimental to such person. Course of conduct is defined as a series of acts, a pattern of conduct composed of a series of acts over a period of time, however short, evidencing continuity of purpose. Mr. Coker, on behalf of Ms. Brady, indicates that this is, use his words, passive aggressive instigating, in the sense that there's some videotaping going on. But it appears to me that based on the evidence, there's video going back and forth. I think people are videoing each other. There's the issue of the horn honking and things of that sort. There's been testimony, well, they came onto our property 3 times. Well, I mean, as far as I can tell, the package, maybe the package wasn't meant for Ms. Brady, but it wasn't meant for Ms. Hamilton either. I don't know what the address on that package was, but, and also to deliver mail, which I don't think is particularly offensive. But in order for me to enter an order on behalf of Ms. Brady, I have to find that, again, that Ms. Hamilton was engaging in a pattern of harassment. And given the record in front of me, you know, I'm unable to do that. Yeah, these are some things I would suggest. I'm not ordering this. Just don't honk your horn. You know, don't try. And I would really work on eliminating the videotaping. But that's going both ways. People are videoing each other, and but at this point, I don't find it, because some of it's responsive to what she's alleging that Ms. Brady's doing, and these folks have never really gotten along, and that's never going to happen. But for now, I'm not going to enter an order. But I will tell you there, Ms. Hamilton, I mean, no one's perfect, but I think you could make some better choices to how you conduct yourself out there that would not, again, I just think everybody needs to ask themselves when they're out there conducting themselves, and I mean everyone, is what I'm doing making things better or making things worse? And that applies to everybody, even the folks there in the back. And so I read that allegation about pulling the pants down and all of that, and I have no idea what actually happened there or not, but or didn't happen. But I mean, it's just, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to deny the order at this time. But if, you know, that's without prejudice to refile and bring it back if a pattern develops. But that's what I'm going to do here for today.
All right. Thank
you. Do
you
you understand, though, one thing I do want you to leave here with, Ms. Hamilton, is that 250, you know, that doesn't affect where she can be on property she's allowed to be. So if she's like a foot away from the easement and you drive by, that's not a violation of the order.
It was more.
Okay, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I want you, I don't know what was said in previous orders. I know what you were said on the judge on Monday because I talked to him about it. That's not a violation of the order. I'm telling you that.
Yeah.
And I hope you understand that.
Yeah, no, I understand
Okay.
that now. It was the way it was explained on the sentencing.
I understand that. That was,
So,
I mean, not to throw anyone under the bus, but that was a pro tem who maybe didn't, that's not something that any of the judges who sit here normally would have done or said, or would have left that courtrroom very clear what the parameters of the order were, which I hope you have now.
yes. I
So there's
do.
no reason to honk at them if you drive by and she's like near the fence line or near the property. There's no reason for you to do that.
I understand.
And that's what's going to happen today. And if you want to wait here, you can get copies of this, or you can just get copies off the Thurston County District Court website.
Can I get them here?
What's that?
Can I get?
Yes, you
copies here,
can.
please?
Give me just a minute.
Here, I'll grab a copy off the website.
Thank you.
And
You may go.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm here, sir.
Hi there. And then Russell Oakert is here also.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to ask for a continuance.
Okay. On what basis?
So I found my base of being served. It was left on a chair on the property. It was never given to me. Also, on top of that, my attorney was not able to make it today because he had a trial.
Who's your attorney?
Dana Ryan.
Okay.
And I'm out of Pierce County. So.
Is there a temporary in this case?
Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Nurmiskin, typically, we'll reset this. There's a temporary in place. We'll reissue that, which will exist for 2 weeks. And then, Mr. Can you come on the Zoom call, please? Or activate your camera. You're on the call, but I almost prefer to look at who I'm talking to.
Yeah, sorry, I've lost the button.
And then, how long is your attorney's trial going to be?
He said if he got enough notice, he can work it out and have another attorney. We weren't given enough notice on any of this. So
okay, yeah, no, we're going to do it. We can do it for 2 weeks from today. How does 2 weeks sound?
that sounds great, sir.
All right. We'll reconvene on October 21st at 9 a.m.
Hey, Your Honor.
Yes.
Hey, I got a question. So I had him served, and my brother-in-law tried to serve him, but he refused to take the paperwork.
Okay.
So
I don't know. What's your
so
question?
him trying to say he wasn't served. They tried to serve him, but he refused the paperwork.
So, well, the primary reason I'm continuing that is because he has an attorney. He's telling me who's not available today.
Okay.
And Mr. Oakert, I need you to tell me that you're not driving.
No, I'm parked, sir.
Okay, so maybe you can pull I'm not sure what your hands are doing, but maybe put them in front of you. There, thank you, so I can see them. And so I'm going to give him a chance to be here with his attorney, and so we're going to set this for 2 weeks.
Okay.
I hear people play service games all the time. You've even heard it a couple times here this morning. So I'm not.
Right.
I mean, it's just part of the business sometimes. But he's here now. I'm telling him. I'll tell both of you. We're going to have a hearing here on October 21st. Mr. Oakert assures me he'll be ready at that time, and that's when we'll have the hearing there.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Sure. And okay. And so this might be your only notice, Mr. Oakert, but you need to be back here on October 21st at 9 a.m. Or do you have an email we could send it to? If you
Yeah,
could
I
put
can
that in
send
the
it
chat
into-
for the clerk, that would be great.
Yeah, I will do that right now, sir. Thank you.
Nimisker.
Right. So you can come on the Zoom call. Mr. Ryan can come on the Zoom call, and Mr. Oakert can come on the Zoom call. So the case in Pierce County there, Mr. Ryan, does that involve
Mr. Okert's ex, who is Mr. Nemeson's current.
right?
And that's my concern, is that it's a fairly serious charge in Pierce County. And Mr. Oakert, I told him I had to be I had actually a trial set this morning in Superior Court that got continued.
Is that so there's a felony, it's in Superior Court. There's
It's a
protection
felony
and
stalking. Yeah.
Right. See that. Okay. And that involves, okay, I understand. So
And
there's
that's
a
why-
temporary order in this case. We can, and Mr. Nimisker, you on the, Mr. Oakert,
Yes,
you
I'm
need
here,
to stop.
sir.
I'd like you to be, yeah.
Oh,
I tend to get
oh.
seasick when people are moving around like that. So Mr.
I'm not moving around.
Well, your camera is. And so Mr. Nimisker,
That's
can you come
Mr.
on the Zoom
Oakert,
call,
sir.
please? Can you activate your camera, please?
Yes. Oops.
And Mr. Oakert, I need you to be stationary. That's who I was talking about. Thank you. It's disconcerting to me to have the camera jumping around and people moving and all that sort of stuff. Mr. Nimisker, your camera's not working.
Hold on, sir.
So a temporary was entered in this
I'm
case.
sorry, Honor,
So
I'm
what I
working.
would be inclined, so Mr. Nimisker, just to have you hear me, I'm going to speak to Mr. Ryan.
Okay.
In these sorts of cases, sometimes people are reluctant to go forward with the hearings for the good reason that, again, they have a right. If there's other cases, criminal cases, things that happen here that could have an effect on that. And so, which may prevent Mr. Oakert from saying everything he needs to say. And so a temporary was entered in this case. What I frequently do in these sorts of situations, Mr. Ryan, is just reissue the temporary without a hearing, reset the hearing out a ways, and then take care of the criminal case, and then we can come back and deal with this. Mr.
Perfect.
Nimisker, from your point of view, an order is in place. That'll remain. But
Right.
just the final issues just won't be resolved just yet. And Mr. Ryan, I'd run that by you as to see what you said. You wanted to file some stuff. You wanted to appear in this case and file some things anyway.
And that makes the most sense, Your Honor. I have no objection to the court continuing the temporary order out and maybe setting this hearing out about 60 to 90 days.
Mr. Nimisker, do you understand that? Do you have a response to that?
I do, sir. I just want to get this over with. Right now, I do have to appear in court on December 12th against Mr. Oakert because I am in one of the cases.
All right, that's why I don't want to go forward on this case. But go ahead,
Okay.
you can continue.
I mean, if they want to sit there and file stuff, I'll go ahead and let them. That gives me more time to file more stuff that I have as well.
What's 60 days? Okay, so today is 21st. We'll go December 23rd. Let's quit. Well, we can go into January. No, January the first month. How about January 8th? That's the January 6th. We could reissue this to January 6th of 2025. What's that?
That works for me, Your Honor. Thank you.
And so, Mr. Nimiskern, you're free to file whatever you wish.
Okay.
The order is in place and will remain in place. And I'm saying that to you there, Mr. Oakert. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Do we have emails for Mr. Oakert? I don't. Okay. Mr. Ryan, if you wouldn't mind putting your email in the chat, we'll email you a copy of the reissue order. And then when you file a notice of appearance, of course, you can get it in there also. And Mr. Nimiskern, we have your email.
Yes, sir.
And then I'm going to check the box unless you have an objection to it there, Mr. Ryan. So the reason for setting this over so long is to restrain a person is asserting a Fifth Amendment right due to a pending criminal case. And then we'll reset it for that reason. Service isn't required because you're all here. And we'll see you all back here on January 6th.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. You're all free to leave.
Thank you.
And then, Mr. Ryan, if you could get your email to us first, and then you can go.
I just put that in there in the chat.
Thank you. Did you get that?
And Mr. Nimiskern,
Yes, Your Honor.
good morning. You would ask for a continuance on this hearing, is that right?
Yes, I was asking for a continuance due to a family member.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll grant one last continuance, Mr. Nimiskern. Is that how you say your name, is Nimiskern or Nimeskern?
Nope, you said it right the first time, Your Honor.
All right, so this case was filed back in September. We're going to bring it to conclusion at the next hearing one way or the other. So that's going to be on the 21st of January at 9 o'clock in the morning. And this will once again need to be served on Mr. Oakert. And let's see what we've done for service. Looks like Tumwater Police Department's been the one that's serving.
No, Your Honor. My younger sister and her husband served him.
So you want us to send a service packet to you?
Yes, and I can have it reserved to him.
Okay. All right, Mr. Nimiskern, you're coming back on the 21st of January. I believe that's a Tuesday, and that will be at 9 o'clock into courtroom 3.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry. Actually, I'm wrong. That'll be courtroom 4 on that date. So if
Courtroom
you're appearing
4.
remote, you're going to check into courtroom 4. If you're appearing in person, it's not at the courthouse. It's about a quarter mile from here.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
There you go. You swear the testimony in this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Nimeskern, am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
It's Nimiskern.
Skern, I'm sorry.
It's okay,
All right.
sir.
Mr. Nimiskern, your petition asserts that Mr. Oakert has been posting things on social media that aren't true. They're meant to impugn you. And he has made false filings with the legal system.
Yes, Your Honor.
False claims. Is there something else I'm missing in there?
No, Your Honor, that is correct.
Okay. Mr. Ryan, do you have any questions for Mr. Nimiskern?
No, Your Honor. And Your Honor, I represent Mr. Oakert on a criminal matter that involves his wife. Mr. Nimiskern is now with Miss Oakert, and I don't want Mr. Oakert to say anything that would endanger that case in Superior Court, and that's why I'm appearing.
Thank you very much. I did note in here that Mr. Nimiskern indicated that he felt that Mr. Oakert was violating conditions of release ordered on that Superior Court case. Mr. Nimiskern, we'll make kind of short work of this. The things you've asked me to do to direct Mr. Oakert not to post things about you on social media, not to say things that aren't nice or that aren't true, and to not file legal actions, I can't restrict him in any of those ways. So this process isn't used to silence somebody who is saying things you don't like to hear. It's used to deal with people who are directly harassing you by contacting you directly and by making threats. So I haven't seen that in any of the things that you have provided. Yeah, go ahead. I'm summarizing where we're at right now, but you go ahead and tell me something else you wanted to say about that.
Yes, Your Honor. So I've had to change my number twice now because I keep getting random numbers harassing me. Also,
okay, stop there for a second. In what capacity are these coming in? Texts, emails, phone calls?
Text, Your Honor.
Okay, and do you know who they are from?
I don't.
Okay, but you believe they're from Mr. Oakert?
I do.
Okay, go ahead. Anything else you wanted to say?
Yes, he's also have contacted my employees that I work with and has got my address, and my back window in my apartment was busted out. Now, I can't say it was him, but it was strange that, after I filed this restraining order, a couple weeks later, my back window was busted out.
Okay, and what do you mean he got your address? Tell me what you mean.
He was talking to one of my employees, and he was trying to figure out information about me.
And the employee reported that to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And you had indicated in here, as I said earlier, that you believe that Mr. Oakert has violated the conditions of release on his Superior Court case.
Yes.
And I want to be clear, you haven't said that he has directly contacted you, but you believe that is making statements about you. And am I right in that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. I am going to deny the request for a full order on the basis that there's not sufficient proof that Mr. Oakert is the one who broke the window or that he has had any direct contact with you. The allegations that he may be in violation of the conditions of release on a Superior Court case, you should report to the prosecutor, let them know everything that's occurred, and they can bring an action before the judge in that case and have that judge determine whether Mr. Oakert's actions are violating his conditions of release, and that would be entirely appropriate.
Okay.
And I will say, Mr. Oakert, Mr. Nimskern, by filing this action, has made it very clear he wants no contact from you. I'm not going to enter an order in this case, but to the extent that he believes and has evidence that you are indeed attempting to contact him, either directly or indirectly, then he can come back to court and say, after we had this hearing, he continues to do this. And if I'm convinced that, in fact, that's happened, then I would not hesitate to enter an order. I want to be very clear about that. And breaking somebody's window is malicious mischief. That's a separate crime. If that occurred, you don't need to tell me you didn't do it. You don't need to tell me you didn't do it. I'm not making an order today. I'm just talking. So I want there to be real clarity here. You're not to have any contact with Mr. Nimskern at his request. I am not entering in any court order, and I will sign the denial order today for this purpose. And either one of you,
can I say something? No.
Just a minute.
No,
either one can access this through the district court file, and Mr. Oakert, Mr. Ryan is strongly suggesting you not say anything at all.
Thank you,
All
Judge.
Right. Thank you both, and thank you, Mr. Ryan.
That's correct, Your Honor. And I put this in the chat, but I was wanting to ask to continue this matter today. I've got several reasons for that.
Okay. I just saw that. And so, go ahead. I'll hear from you. This case had been continued once before. I think they were both here, but go ahead.
I understand that, Your Honor. I came on about I'm sorry?
I said you were not, as I recall.
Yeah, that's correct. I came on about a week and a half ago, but I've had some fairly limited availability since then. But I have been working with the Smithlands to we're working to compile a fair amount of court documents and also working to get some of the police reports related, or at least the CAD logs related to some of these incidents that were described in the two petitions. Also, Your Honor, I'd note that there was a little bit of a confusion in this case because it would appear that Sandra Austin and their daughter, Sandra K. Austin, have basically the same name. And so I was a little confused when I was going through and reading through some of these specific allegations. And then finally, I also wanted to confirm that the actual email address that's listed in the petition is for the older of the two Sandra Austins for the purposes of serving.
She's nodding yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, that's it, Your Honor. I am working on preparing a response to this. Even if I could continue it for 1 week, that's basically what I'd be asking for. Although 2 weeks might be a little bit easier because it does take some time to compile some of this documentation. But I would note that these incidents appear to be related to an ongoing 10-year parenting plan dispute between the Austins and the Smithlands son and daughter.
That's what I did pick up on that, both from when we were here last time as well as from the pleadings. But is there a parenting plan in place?
It would appear so. I will tell you, Your Honor, one of the things that I do plan on filing is the King County Superior Court document list for the parenting plan case that exists. It's several pages long and consists of a guy, can't remember the exact number of documents, probably something like 200 plus filings in that specific case. And I've been going through that. I think that some of those filings may be relevant to this specific case. And so I'm in the process of getting that. But there's also some Thurston County cases. There's some Pierce County cases. And then, of course, there's these various police reports, times at least the police were called. And so I don't know if actual reports were filed in those instances, but I'm sure there were at least catalogs that relate to some of those instances. And I've sent Mr. Smithland on a mission to obtain those from the local Lacey PD.
Now, are either one of these folks a party in any of these family law case, or it's all is it their children? Basically,
it's related to their children. But one thing that I did note, Your Honor, is that a lot of the allegations that the Austins are making against my clients have to do with alleged acts directed towards other people. For instance, the younger Sandra Austin, one of their guests, and as well, I'll be arguing in the case, and I'd like to get some evidence together related to that, for instance, in at least one of the instances they're detailing related to Teresa Smithland was an attempt to serve a contempt order in the family law, the parenting plan case between the two kids. And that, of course, would serve a lawful purpose for the purposes of an anti-harassment order. I would like to get that evidence together.
Okay. Give me just a minute.
I was looking at my calendar, Your Honor. I'd be able to manage this next Monday or the Monday the 21st. I would not be objecting to the reissuance of the temporary order.
All right. And then Mr. and Ms. Austin, you understand what's being requested here? I cannot hear anything. That is true. Thank you. I'm glad you can hear me, but yeah, your mic is not working. It doesn't look like you're muted. Are they connected to audio?
They are.
Did you see that, Mr. Yeagley, that on the chat?
I do. Let me just double check the petition here where the email address was.
All right. So there's a temporary in place, Mr. and Ms. Austin. We're going to reset this to the 21st, and I'm going to have the same direction that, you're either going to need to be in person or have working technology so we can have this hearing. Do you understand that?
And just to confirm, Your Honor, I do see a one. It's basically Sandra, what is it? Gmail.com. Yeah, gmail.com. Is that I'm assuming that's the correct email address? Okay. Thank you.
We'll see everyone back here on the 21st.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
And the temporary that's in place will remain.
Okay. Excellent.
Austin's. All right. So give me a minute here. I'm going to finish up on something on a different case.
And then I just wanted to inquire of the court before we started, Your Honor. So
go ahead there. If it was a late filing, I didn't see it because I was looking at this over the weekend. And
I just wanted to clarify there were two things. One, we did file a response packet with the court on Friday afternoon. I wanted to be certain that the court had received that and reviewed that.
The court may have received it, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah, that's an issue. And then the Austins filed a police report related to the September 4th incident. Apparently this morning, or at least I received it this morning. And frankly, Your Honor, if I had received the police report myself from the police in advance of this, I would have filed that with my own response packet. And I think it's important that the court review both our response packet and the police report as it relates to this incident.
All right. Give me just a minute here.
So if that's
I'm going to finish one and then I'm going to look here because I haven't seen any of that either.
Okay.
We don't have it in the Rawlings thing either. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with these cases, but nothing right now because they're not even in the file now. But what the next case we're going to take is, and then it's the same thing. I'm going to have to come back on this later. Well, one thing that we could do is, well, what time is it? I don't really want to do that. No, we're going to, I was going to say we come back this afternoon, but I would really like to finish this calendar this morning so we don't have to come back. And, but I do want to read all that stuff. And so, You were going to say something?
My client would prefer to be, if Your Honor thinks it's possible to be done today. Yeah.
It's going to be done today. There's no question about that, but it might not be till the afternoon.
And that's tough in my client's work schedule. Your Honor, could you do you hear this while you're still on bench hearing these next week?
That's, well, where's Mr. Kean? That week's probably pretty big, isn't it? Again.
Yeah. I did get the documents.
Which one? In the, okay. And did you get them in on the ones on the Smithland Austin thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Give me just a second. All right. Let's see. What file did you file the stuff in there, Mr. Yeagley?
I instructed our paralegal to file. It's basically an identical packet in each one of these individual cases. So one for Mr. Smithland and one for Miss Smithland. And
but it's the same thing. It's 51 page thing.
That's correct, Your Honor. It's several declarations, declarations from my clients and then a few other individuals, and then mostly some court orders that probably won't take too long to review, and a catalog as it relates to the September 4th incident. And then the Austins filed a police report for that incident as well. That, frankly, if the court doesn't have that, I would file that on my own as well.
I don't have that. We don't have that either. When did you file that there, Mr. and Ms. Austin?
This morning. We got Mr. Yeagley's file on Friday afternoon, and so this was the first opportunity to submit the police report.
But when did you do it?
This morning at 8:30.
Okay. Did you see that? Then there's an. Okay. So, I've reviewed your petition, which I have in front of me now. I reviewed the response filed by Mr. Yeagley on behalf of the Smithlands. You can correct me if I got this wrong or right. It looks like Mr. and Ms. Austin, you have, if I get this right, you have a daughter. The Smithlands have a son, and they have a child together. There's a parenting plan in place. And from the Smithlands' point of view, this parenting plan hasn't been followed. When they show up at your house that you complain about, it's to try and get this parenting plan followed. And on the date in question, your daughter took off with the child, and that created the controversy. And this has been an ongoing problem for quite some time. Right. So is that the Reader's Digest version of what's alleged here? So I'll hear from you. What's your position on all of this?
Well, the most recent incident of hostility was on September 20th. The Smithlands pulling guns on a third-party professional process server from Greyhound Legal trying to serve them, which she never got out of the car and showed no threat. I submitted her email refusing to serve them because she felt her life was threatened. These people are bullied. When they tried to serve earlier, their sign appeared hostile on September 13th, and that email was submitted.
Okay, so hang on just a second. So let's refrain from name calling, first of all. And secondly, this parenting plan, is that, from what I'm hearing from them is, and from their readings is, this would be fine if everybody followed the parenting plan, but people aren't doing that. And so I'll have you respond to that.
Probably true. However, my daughter fears for her children. Okay. I could have submitted the forensic interview, which shows that the children said that, their father was molesting them. I could have turned in the therapist's letters.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for a second because I said on all that. That's not in my court, basically. What happened is there's a parenting plan in place that apparently was ordered by a judge someplace else. And until that parenting plan's changed, that's a court order that you need to follow. And I can clear for me that you don't like that. And I'm going to assume, maybe incorrectly, that all this was brought up in the when the parenting plan was litigated, but the judge decided to do what the judge did, and then that's the situation you're in right now.
Well, my daughter, she's in hiding from all of this. She's not with us anymore. So
well, here's what's today, ma'am. Based on I read the definition. I read it a couple of times. Yes, there was conflict and high emotions going on there when all this went down, and but the part of the harassment statute that I'm going to kind of latch onto, which is basically you're getting someone that serves no legal or lawful purpose, like you're just intentionally bugging someone for whatever reason, just to harass them and bother them. I don't think the Smithlands are doing that. Yes, there's been conflict when they come out there, and you frankly kind of had me when you say that's probably true. When I say if everybody just follows the parenting plan, none of this would have happened. And I didn't put the parenting plan in place. I don't know what that judge considered when he or she did that, but that's the parenting plan. That's the law of that case, and that needs to be complied with. And you can make motions, or your daughter can make motions to adjust all that. I've read somewhere that she's been held in contempt by a court for not following the parenting plan, which is not great. But that's where. So you would ask for an order. You and Mr. Austin asked for an order, and just based on the facts in front of me, I just don't think this is an appropriate case for me to issue an anti-harassment order.
Even with them pulling guns and
they're showing the hostility here. That is for the police to come into, not them. And for what the police have done, they tried to serve. And of course, they did it peacefully. These people are trying to do it for you.
And they can, maybe that's something they can do, is they can take another look at how they serve you and maybe make an effort not to have contact. But again, based on the record in front of me, I'm not going to enter an order in this case. And I may have said this once before. I said this once before today on a different case, but I'd like everybody, and the actual parents of this child aren't even here. I guess I just like it if everybody stood back and thought about what they're teaching this child. And that's, and I don't know any of you. I've never met you. I've never met this child. I've never met your children, but I can assure you that this is not having a positive impact on that child one way or the other. And, but again, that's beyond me. That's a family court thing. I'm a district court judge for a reason. I don't do that, the family court thing. But with regard to the harassment, again, I'm just not going to enter an order at this time. And again, like I know I said this, neither one of you folks are going anywhere. You're the grandparents of this child, and you will be forever. And you should learn how to get along and work together. And maybe there's some intractable issues, but you were saying that there was some molestation going on. I heard from the Smithlands and their recommendation that was unfounded. But we live in the real world, and you need to address this in a realistic way. And like I say, at this point, I don't find that, yes, there was conflict, but I don't find that an order is appropriate. So I'm not going to enter an order here today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Then you're all free to leave the Zoom call, and I hope folks can work together for the betterment of this child and their parents. Both of them might need some assistance as well, but it doesn't help things when the grandparents are at loggerheads there, I don't think. But that's it for today. You all are free to leave the Zoom call. You too there, Mr. Yeagley.
Thank you.
You can get a copy of the denial order off the website.
Okay. Have a good day, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Dean and the Smiths live next door to each other. And then if I remember right, give me just a minute to refresh my memory.
Can I just clarify real quickly, sir?
Sure.
We don't live next door to each other. We share a back fence property line.
Okay. I see. Well,
or adjacent.
I misstated that. You live in a manner where your properties abut each other, whether it's next door or back to back or something like that. That's my understanding of it.
And just to clarify too, the fence is not theirs.
Okay.
It's my fence.
It's a fence.
I built it. I paid for it.
Okay. Remind me who's blowing the leaves. Is that you, Mr. Dean? Okay. So Mr. Dean has been blowing leaves, which is kind of, as far as I can tell, creating the problem. There's been things going back and forth. Both parties appearing to threatening to kick each other in various places. And so now you're both asking for protection orders, and on the no temporaries were entered in either case. And so in the last 2 weeks, or when we were here last time till now, how have things gone out there?
First of all, I did ask for a temporary order. It was denied at the time until after he looked at it. There was a problem. There was a problem somewhere in the middle of the week. Mr. Smith has been videotaping me over the fence in my underwear. And I found that to be a little disturbing, especially whenever he posted it on the court papers. So I let that go, but then I started looking at it after I got the sample from the courts here of the videos that he's been taking, and all of the videos that were in there or simply me picking up tennis balls for my dog. And then I noticed that my grandson was riding the quad. The fellow that's in there that's doing it with the helmet, that was in the middle of July. He came up from Texas with my granddaughter. She's 11 years old. And Mr. Smith.
Okay, so look, I'm right here. You don't need to yell.
I get a little excited because
you guys are yelling at each other out there. I don't want anyone yelling at me.
Okay. Mr. Smith was taking pictures of my grandson riding the quad, and in the background, you could see her bedroom. And they have 2 windows in her bedroom, so you could see right through the bedroom. All you have to do is just pinch that stuff and spread it out, and you can see right through it. Mr. Smith also, when I reviewed some of the other videos, Mr. Smith is 20 feet away from my back sliding glass door, taking a video of me. All of these occasions, Your Honor, have been Mr. Smith approaching me first. Everyone, from the leaves to riding my ATV to working out by the mailbox, has all been Mr. Smith approaching me. I'm simply asking the court to consider that I have high blood pressure, and this is a dangerous time for me. Having Mr. Smith parade me in front of my family and friends and my neighborhood, and Mrs. Smith going around to all of her friends that she has crumpets and tea with across the fence. I read the papers that she wrote, and they're all very similar. You can tell that she's doctored it to say the same thing.
And they're forwarded.
Okay, so ma'am, I just went, and I should also say,
I'm asking the court.
Mr. Smith, I'll hear from you. You guys have been sworn in, I know, at the last hearing. This is kind of continuation of that.
I wasn't sworn in, sir. My husband was, but I was not.
Okay, so I don't think I need to hear from you because I kind of have an idea of what's going to happen here. But go ahead, Mr. Smith.
So I don't know what he was talking about, me videoing him in his underwear. I would never do that. That's not something that I'm interested in doing. All the videos, I hope you were able to review.
Okay, so just you need to stop. He didn't interrupt you, so you need to treat him with the same amount of respect. Go ahead, Mr. Smith. You may continue.
So the reasons I made the videos was to document that Mr. Dean was riding his quad in the backyard, and I hope you were able to review the videos to see that he uses it aggressively when he's unhappy with the neighbor. And they're all videos; they're not stills. So you can see the actions in the videos. And then the mailbox, I also had a recording of that where I just went to get my mail, and he addressed me by swearing at me, and then the conversation. I hope I don't need to describe it since the video was on there. The neighbors wrote their own statements. Probably the reason they're similar is because it's the same issues with Mr. Dean throughout the neighborhood. There's no need for us to doctor anything. That is God's honest truth of what everybody said on their own. So, I mean, if you're able to review the videos, I think that's pretty telling. But also Mr. Dean drives through our roundabout. And that's something that, like he drives through, watches everybody. There was one time I was in my garage and his vehicle was stopped at the end of my driveway. I looked up and he drove off. He was watching me in my garage. We just want to try to alleviate any comments where I feel threatened to go to the mailbox. I go late at night now when I know he's not around. I don't feel that I should have to be afraid to go to my own mailbox, just coincidentally at the end of his driveway. The leaf issue is something that has been ongoing. I think you know about it, but he just blows the leaves under the fence, our shared fence. And it's been going on for years, and it's just been very frustrating. And then, we'd like to not have him riding his quad around in the backyard, try to reduce that. It makes dust. We were sick. One time that the dust came out was when I had commented to him about, riding the quad in such a fashion. But sometimes he's back there, he goes really fast. I think if we could have some of those things reduced or eliminated, I believe that would, benefit us to be able to feel comfortable in our backyard. I don't feel comfortable going outside right now. On October 1st, around noon, I went outside just to go do something in my backyard. He was on his quad, he stood up. he yelled at me, you know, do you want to take my picture? Take my picture, you effing creep, is the quote that he said. I didn't even have a phone or a camera in my hand at that time. I feel like he's just lashing out. And then he also called the Thurston County Sheriff, and we spoke with him about 12:30 that day. And then he took both our statements, which I think that Dean has a copy of.
Okay.
That's it.
Turn that copy of the Sheriff's Department into you.
So, again, I heard from you both last week. And Ms. Boring, you had spoke up earlier. Did you wish to say anything further?
I would like
If
to
you're going
say
to raise
that
your hand, could you raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we do have trees in our backyard, but there's also trees in the green belt. So as far as the leaves go, they can fall in from anywhere, but there's only like less than half an inch gap between the fence and the cement runner. So, you know, is there a few leaves that get through? Maybe, but you know, I don't think that that's what his intent has ever been. And as far as the video, it did unnerve me seeing my husband in his underwear, where his videos that he's posting on here. It was to me, it was extremely disturbing. And the name calling, you know, he's always yelling at him. And there was one other time they were interchanging comments outside, and I stood there, and my husband was driving off, and Mr. Smith stood there for 3 to 5 minutes waiting for him to come back. I witnessed that, but Mr. Smith did see me in the garage. I stood there and I waited for him to leave. And if he was such a good sound neighbor, he would have just gotten in his truck and left.
Ms. Smith, anything you'd like to say at this time?
I
Raise your right hand, please. You swear and affirm the information you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I just kind of want to reiterate, you know, some of our asks. You know, we just don't want him driving by our house anymore.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Okay. Well, he doesn't live on our street. There's really no reason for him to be driving past our house. I will say that with respect to the fence, I was curious about it because it went out before we moved in. So I reached out to the former owners, the people we bought the house from, spoke to him last week, and he confirmed that the fence went in the fall of about 2004, 2005. He worked on it with his friend, and that Russell did help with the fence installation. So I think that constitutes shared fence in every understanding I have of how that works.
Okay.
I just want to clarify
that's not in front of me either.
I have the receipts at home.
Okay, so here's what's happening today, right? And so both of you have asked for those cross petitions against. Oh, there's a hand up over there. Did you have anything additional you wish to say there?
Oh,
Ms.
sorry,
Smith?
no. It just says my hand was raised from when I did the swearing in. That's, I think,
All right.
I lowered it.
And so, you know, a lot of the again, there's all too common occurrence. People are neighbors who can't get along, and for whatever reason it starts. Then little things become big things, and then the next thing you know, you're in front of a judge asking for a no contact order to keep one person away from the other, or in this case, you're asking to keep both parties away. Both parties are asking the other person to keep them away from each other. It's always kind of a curious situation. It's like, my first reaction to this is you both want the same thing. What do you need me for? But you do, because here we are. And so what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to grant orders for both. I'm only going to involve the two. I'm going to eliminate Ms. Smith and Ms. Boring from both petitions. And then Mr. Smith and Mr. Dean are going to have orders against each other, essentially. You folks just aren't to talk to each other. You're not to have any, there's not a distance restriction, which means you can still go on any street you're entitled to. You're just not to talk to each other. And, you know, with regard to what this, you know, Mr. Smith, you complain about, well, he drives his ATV in his backyard. You know what? He's entitled to do that. And if he's not, you know, he's entitled to do that. That's all I can say. And maybe it's annoying for you. I don't know if he's intentionally kicking up dust. I don't know that he's doing that or not, but there's just nothing I can do about that. It'd be impossible to enforce something that says you can't drive your ATVs or can't kick up too much dust. It's private property. He can drive whatever vehicle he wants to, as long as he's not breaking any laws. And as far as I can tell, he isn't. On the other hand, don't blow leaves on the other person's property. I mean, that's going to be annoying. I know, just stop, ma'am. I didn't interrupt you, so come on, let me go. And people made some comments, well, these are God's leaves or God's dust or what have you. I mean, that's just, all that's doing is just stirring up conflict between the two of you. Both of you have threatened, one of you threatened to kick the other person's ass. The other person said, oh gosh, I'm not scared of you. Come on over and all that sort of stuff. So it's been kind of going both ways from where I sit. And it's going to stop now. You guys just can't talk to each other. Do you understand that? This does not include Ms. Smith or Ms. Mooring. You're not included in this order, but just don't talk to each other. And I will say blowing leaves, I would consider blowing leaves and then not engage in stalking behavior also, because that box is checked. Blowing leaves on somebody else's property, I would consider that a violation. Taking videos, put your hand down. Taking video of other people, I would consider that a violation going forward. Do you understand that, Mr. Smith? And so, I mean, there's no reason for you to be taking videos of anyone, either Mr. Dean or the child or anything like that. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I don't.
Anybody have any questions about the parameters of this order? You wanted to say something?
When I was reading are you talking to me?
Yes.
When I was reading the complaint that she made on the restraining order, she was asking for things like mental health evaluations, alcohol evaluations.
Did you hear what I said, what the order entails?
I just wanted to make sure.
And none of that stuff's being ordered.
And I wanted to clarify too about the fence and the leaves. Okay. That's only a half an inch.
Doesn't matter how big it is. If you're running a leaf blower and leaves are going on the other property, that's a problem.
I won't.
I mean, use a rake when you're near their property line. Don't, if leaf falls from your trees on their property, that happens. But don't actively blow them onto. And it doesn't matter. I mean, if things were reversed and people were blowing stuff onto your yard, even a couple, I'm pretty confident you would find that annoying based on my brief experience with all of you folks.
I would like to say it'd be okay if he wanted to blow out from underneath the fence because I want to keep it from rotting.
He doesn't.
Okay.
I think, again, we're not going to, it's impossible for me to get out there and police the landscaping between the two of you. But the one thing I can do is just keep you two apart.
Okay.
And that's it for today. If you want, you can get copies of this off the district court website, or if you want copies now, I'll give you, since you're here, you can have copies now.
I do want a copy.
Copies of each order. Well, you can thank me by at least not having conflict. I can't, it's foolish for me to say get along because that's not going to happen clearly, but at least avoid conflict. And that's, generally it takes two to tango, and that's certainly what's going on here.
I appreciate the decision, Your Honor. Having no contact with him will definitely be more comfortable for me. So
you can get copies of that off the district court website.
Right.
Are we done?
Yes, you're free to leave.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day.
You got your copies, you're free to go. A letter in there. You swear and affirm the information testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. How is it that you need an order against Mr. Antonora?
He has a hard time taking authority from our company. When he is talked to, he tends to walk right through any kind of disciplinary and does what he wants. He's hit me in the back room, and when we have interaction, when I go to the freezer, he constantly has to be back there. When I'm back there, he hit me with a U-boat just recently, ramming it into the freezer door, knocking me back pretty hard. Have
you talked to him about this or management?
Management, yes.
What have they said?
Management, it falls under, I have some statements I'd like you to see.
Okay. So go ahead. Have you seen those, Mr. Antonora?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So what do those statements say? And then
in regards to issues falling on deaf ears with the company, things being swept under the rug with him, not just me.
Okay. Well, what specifically, again, just specifically, what is he doing that you need an order? I heard about the U-boat. Explain to me what a U-boat is.
We put product on it, like our heavy items, and we push them.
So just a cart, basically. And we pushed the door. Okay, what else?
It originally started with a parking lot issue that he had to have, that I had taken for years that I had been at that store. When he found out that I was taken that spot. He told my immediate supervisor that I can come say good morning to him if I wanted it back and ask for it back. That's what, the more I stayed away from Mark, the more he wanted more attention. It was constant. My store manager told him to stop inserting himself into my life. She wants nothing to do with you. This just fueled the fire more.
And so what did he do after that, after she said, leave you alone?
My car has been knifed. Mark runs a knife sharpening operation out of his vehicle in the parking lot.
Knife? What do you mean knifed? Like
I believe like home butcher knives.
I know, but I mean, what?
Customer.
I know what key in a car is. I'm wondering.
There was a police report filed. Somebody had a pretty sharp knife to take to my bumper.
And was it just like a scratch or?
There was a pretty good large pattern carved into the bumper.
What was the pattern?
Whole bunch of V's or W's.
Okay. All right. And then what's happening around the job site there? Again, in addition to the things you've said.
Even though he's told to stay away from me, he loves to come into my department and wave in my face or smile at me. He waits into my department. I've taken pictures of him and send them to coworkers. Here he is again waiting for me so he can follow me out into the parking lot. Coworkers, kind of find it funny, but I'll snap a picture and send it to him just in case I don't make it home. He is standing here again. He refers to me as some pretty choice words to other coworkers, which I have in statements also.
What is he? Again, we're in court. We're adults here. You can say what he said.
Oh, he loves to call me a bitch. He loves to call me crazy. He has quite the vocabulary with many females in the store.
Let me hear from him, and I may have some questions for you in a minute. Did you want to file that stuff?
Can I give it to you?
Yeah. And if you give it to me, then it's not coming back. It's going to go into the court file. And then, I'm going to tell you what I have. I have a statement from Andrea, Muehe. I'm not sure how to say that. Stephen Geiger, and then Louis Aller. And those are statements, and I haven't read. I may read them in a minute, and then I'll tell you what I read, and then give you a chance to respond. But for now, could you raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. What's your response to what you've heard?
They're all basically false allegations. I really don't have any contact with her at all. I never go into her department when she's over there. She referred to that 2 years ago when I started working there, I started parking in the spot. She didn't like it because it was her spot. And to be honest, I don't even park in that spot anymore. It's very childish behavior. I have a knife sharpening business. I don't carry any knives with me. I don't sharpen in the parking lot. These are all false allegations. The incident with the freezer, I've been there 2 years. She walks by department every time. She claims I don't like women. I have women that I work with that we have a inter-store communication that they appreciate my working with me and they like me. And the three people that she's talking about, Andrea, which I barely know, she works in the pharmacy. It's her friend. And I've maybe said one word to her. I went to the pharmacy one time to help out to get some cough drops, and she was rude to me, told me to get in line. There was no one there. And I found out it's Alana's friend, and we don't have any communication at all. And I don't know whatever Stephen wrote. Stephen, I don't know. And then Louis is a disgruntled employee that worked in the meat department with us. And I've talked to numerous people in that store. She has a history of this stuff, of filing sexual harassment suits against people. She did 3 people in the meat department alone before I got there. I only have 6 months left to retire, and I'm just trying to get through this. I try to avoid her as much as I can because I knew she was trouble from the very beginning with the parking lot incident because we don't have assigned parking. Her husband came into the parking lot and called me names and told me I was a jerk for parking in her spot. He's
right back here, so I can hear from him too.
Okay, from who?
I said no. Her husband is in court in the back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he came in and can hassle me in the parking lot. She's taking pictures of me. I just found that out not too recently ago. Where am I following her? It's like I have no reason. Or I lost my train of thought. I don't know.
So if you had any, what she said, she's talked to management about this. Has management ever talked to you about this?
They told me because the freezer we both used the freezer. They said just try to stay away from her, Mark. And there's been times where I've been in the freezer and she's come in there and vice versa. It's just we both use that freezer. I've never had any contact with her. And the incident with that triggered her to do this was I was just trying to go into the freezer door with my cart before it shut, because that thing is a huge door and it's very heavy. And I was just trying to get in there so I didn't have to stop my cart. And she claimed that I knocked the wind out of her, I hit her, and the door, she popped out behind it when the door stopped. And I said, "Oh, sorry." And she goes, "You're coming in kind of hard." I said, "I'm sorry." And that was the end of it. She's just made all this stuff. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. There was an employee there about 8 months ago that was online looking for reviews about her, because she does pickup at our store. And she found a review of me, and she goes, "Mark, this is not you. What is this?" And I'm like, "I don't know, whatever." And then her immediate supervisor, manager, I asked, I go, "Who is it about?" It was a few months later. I said, "Who is this person online?" Mason. And that's Lana's son. He wrote a review about me, which was a lie. He doesn't even shop in there. He's just a kid. And I went back to check. I screen capped him too. I have it. Then she did another review about 2 months ago, under the same name, but it was a different icon. And they're the same person, because they both have reviews of Laughlin or wherever they go, Bullhead City or wherever they go. But quite the contrary, she's been harassing me, but I just try to steer clear of her, Your Honor, because I know that she's definitely in trouble, because she has a history of filing. She was going to sue a supervisor in this store that comes in. People stay away from her because they're scared of her. Management, the only thing they talked to me about was just try to stay away from her, Mark. They've done nothing to me because I've done nothing wrong, Your Honor. And I just
hang on just a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Anything further there, Mr. Antonora?
Nothing I can think of at the moment.
When did you get served with this?
Friday. I had just left work, and
No, he didn't. It was last Monday.
And would you let me speak, please? Friday, I was at work, and I had left, and the police came, and my manager called me, and I talked to the police, and I told them I would pick it up Monday on the way into work, because I didn't want him here at work making a scene.
Monday a week ago?
Yeah. Yes.
And then this is all at QFC, right?
Yes.
Correct. They know about this?
I've tried to keep them updated and informed as much as possible.
Anybody talk to you about this, Mr. Antonora?
About this current situation?
Yeah. About this order. There's an order in place right
now. I told them about it. Yeah, and they know about it. Yeah, they've reviewed it. They know about the incident where her husband came to the parking lot to harass me. I don't have any other information about what, but I've talked to the people, and she's done this before many times. I'm just I'm trying to steer clear of her, because it's happened to me now. I'm another whatever.
So what's your position on, and I'm going to tell me specifically what happened with her husband in the parking lot, then I'll bring you up, sir.
He came driving up to me one day. I'd only been in this working, so it's 2 years ago, almost to the day. And he came and rolled down his window. He goes, "You're a jerk. That's my wife's parking spot. She's been parking there for 16 years. I go, "We don't have any assigned parking here." So, and I never, any vulgarity at them, nothing. And that was it. And then I pretty much stayed away from them as much as I could, because he comes, picks her up for lunch and stuff sometimes. And and I have you can look at the QFC Google reviews, and she's made lies about her coming and asking for customer service, and it's just,
you can take a seat there.
Yep. There's no validity to any of those allegations.
So much about me.
And okay, could you raise your right hand? Yep. Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yep.
You can put your hand down. What's your version of what happened in the parking lot?
In the parking lot, I drove in and I nicely said, "Can you not park in my wife's spot? Why do you have to cause trouble?" And this gentleman started throwing himself around the parking lot, arms in the air, swearing and yelling. And I just rolled down the window, thought, he's crazy, I'm going to drive off.
And how long ago did this happen?
Probably 2 years ago. And my wife comes home upset because she's been followed into the parking lot, which she has statements. I just want her left alone. She just wants to go to work and do her job. And he has waited out the door for her. She's taking pictures and stuff.
Okay, I just want to know about the parking lot.
Yeah, so that's it. He just started throwing himself around.
Okay. So go ahead. I'll come back to you, ma'am. Tell me about again, the waiting outside the door, the following around. What's that all about?
That was just actually this started recently over the summer. It started in June. I started sending the pictures to Lacey Police. They put it in as evidence. It was, I don't know if form of intimidation, showing me that he can do what he wants, but he would just stand. Starbucks is in the bakery area, and he'd stand there and just wait, and employees recognized it. You know, at first it was like this.
Do you work in the Starbucks area?
I don't. I'm the cake decorator.
Okay. Keep going.
We just kind of, at first we thought, you know, oh, here he is again, you know, standing waiting. And then when I would clock off, I would come back and he would come out with me. And it became a pattern, I think, until he caught me taking a picture of him.
I never caught her.
What's your response to that, Mr. Antonora?
Never caught her. I'm clueless of where she came. There's a Starbucks that opened about 6 months ago, and I do talk to the Starbucks barista there. I forgot his name, but by what means? Why would I wait for her? And I've never walked out with her.
I'm wondering the same thing.
Yeah, it's like there's no to no means. I've never followed her to her car. I go in and out to lunch. I'm out of there. Time to go home. I'm gone. I'm out of there. I do not hang around that place. Like I said, the owner, I got 5 months left to serve, and I'm done. And it's just like I said, she's got a history, and I'm her latest victim.
I don't know what he's talking about.
What you can respond to that.
I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know why he knows so much about me. I don't know why he thinks he knows so much about me. I don't know where all this is coming from, where he thinks he's getting it. Where he said there was 3 people in the seafood department that I've had
sexual harassment claim against.
I never had one. So I don't know where he's.
So you're saying you haven't made any complaints of sexual harassment?
In the seafood department, no. There was one who.
Just be quiet, Mr. Antonora.
There was one gentleman who was in the deli, and he was fired for alcohol on the job. It was nothing to do with me. He touched me inappropriately, and they gave him a second chance. And he was fired for drinking.
So, Mr. Antonora, anything you'd like to say?
No, thank you.
How long ago was that, ma'am?
5-6 years ago.
All right. Give me a second here. How many complaints have you made to management about this?
We've had a handful of verbal conversations and 3 documentations.
I see. How long have you worked there, Mr. Antonora?
2 years.
How long have you worked there?
With QFC, 27 years.
Got it. All right, so here's what's going to happen today. There, you say you have, you're going to be, you said 6 months, then you said 5 months.
Yeah, less than 5 months, and I'm gone.
How's he been lately in terms of waiting for you and so forth?
Since the protection order, I have seen hardly anything of him, but honestly, there's a pattern of him getting his hand slapped and him being, it's hard for him to control himself.
So here's what's going to happen here today there, Mr. Antonora, Ms. Mealing. You know, these orders, you know, it's not uncommon for folks to have to come to court. And then I'll hear frequently when I hear these, there are 2 different versions of the same set of facts. Unlawful harassment is defined as a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, or is detrimental to such person and serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. Course of conduct is defined as a pattern of conduct composed of a series of acts over a period of time, however short, evidencing continuity of purpose. And so, again, a lot of times, frequently, there's 2 different versions of what went on out there. I kind of have to listen and see what makes sense and assess credibility and so forth and act accordingly. You know, I reviewed the petition and the statement. I've heard the testimony of both parties. And based on all that, I'll find that there's enough credible evidence where I'm going to enter an order. It's not going to have a distance restriction. I'm going to put the same language in there that was in there before, that you're just not to have contact with her. You're not, and you're not to have any contact with her while you're at work. And that means, you're saying why would I wait for her? Yeah, that's a good question. And it could be that you're doing that to annoy someone, which falls within the definition of harassment. So
Never done that,
the
Your
order's
Honor.
going to get entered, and then that's what's going to happen here today. It'll be in place for, well, the default is 1 year, but you'll be gone. And if what you say actually happens and you're leaving there in between 5 and 6 months, then this will become a non-issue at that point. You wanted to say something?
Can we add, no, not to come around her house, not that he has, but I don't want anybody or her.
Yeah, he's just not going to have any contact with her. Coming to your house would be contact. Would that be considered a violation? Do you understand the parameters of this order there, Mr. Antonora?
Yes.
All right. And that's it for today.
Can I ask you, Your Honor? So
yes,
we've worked together for 2 years.
Right.
And I know you made your decision already. She's walked by my department every day she's worked there. You know, I mean, if there was any type of harassment, she always, and I've never made any contact with her. It's just, I don't want this to look bad on me because I only have, like I said, I only have 5 months left with the company. So how are we going to work together? You know, what is it?
Well, you're just not to.
We don't work together.
I understand if you work in the meat department, she works in the
bakery.
In the decorating department, you just stay out of each other's apartment. I'm pretty confident she wants to stay away from you. And so you need to stay away from her. And if she's in the refrigerator, whatever that is, and she's in there, you just want to have to wait for her to leave and then go in there when she's gone. That would be what I would say.
Yeah,
if you're there, just turn around and go away.
I've never wanted any contact.
I'm not making a finding with regard to that, with regard to that knife incident. I can't make any finding. Maybe that thing with the U-boat was an accident, but I think there's sufficient in terms of the evidence you say that there's sufficient of it. Again, you're just, again, if she's there, come away. And you need, to be fair, you need to stay out of his department too. But I can't imagine why a cake decorator needs to go to the meat department. But anyway, that's what we're doing here today. And if you want to wait, you get a copy of it. And that'll be it for today. You can get a copy of it off the district court website there, Mr. Antonora.
Thank you.
And then Mr. Devon Hart, can you come on your iPhone, please?
Yes, Your Honor. And I would just like to ask for a continuance. I take this matter very seriously and would like to appear in person, helping an immediate family member with a serious medical emergency at the moment. And so that's all I would ask from you today, sir. My mom is probably a separate matter, I would assume. And that's just my part.
Well, I'll hear from, is there temporaries in place in this case or no? Or is he just noticing hearings?
There is, Your Honor.
Okay, all right.
In regards to that,
hang on. If these cases are always going to be heard all at once, for one thing. And I'm going to, and I need you to be stationary there, Mr. Hart. All that, you're giving me motion sickness with all that movement.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm going to sit down.
And now I can't see you.
Sorry, I was trying to get a shirt on.
So bring me back up to date. Okay, thank you. You're Jessica, correct?
Yes.
And so what's the relationship between, or one of you can, and I'll get to your request here in a minute. So how are you two related? You two are related?
We're sisters.
Sisters? Okay. And so was one of you used to be dating Mr. Devon Hart? Yes, and that was you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so when did that break up? How long ago have you not been dating?
Maybe like 2 months ago.
Okay. And then you folks live near each other?
His mom lives across.
Okay. Does he?
No, he
Okay.
doesn't.
Okay. And so you heard what he said. So he doesn't live there. Basically, he just wants to set this up, which would have been nice to hear this earlier, so you didn't have to wait around all morning. And so there are temporaries in place. He's wanting to set this over for a week or two because apparently he's dealing with some health issues. So chances are I'm probably going to do that. You've seen me do that, give other people when they get served. There is a temporary order in place that will remain.
And I have a question about that, Your Honor.
Yeah, okay, but you're going to wait. I'm going to hear from them first. Go ahead. I mean, either Kenya or Jessica. Kenya, am I saying it? Is it Kenya?
Kenya.
Kenya, okay. And so
there's not going to happen anything today?
Probably not. We'll just, other than the status quo will remain. There's a temporary in place that's going to remain in place. And I'm asking you how you feel about that. We'll either be back either next week or the week after that, or maybe the week after that. So it'll be quick and that'll be the only continuance. There won't be any others.
It should be fine.
How have things been going out there since then?
It's been calm.
Okay, good.
Nothing, no problems ever since the protection.
Perfect. So you wanted to say something, Devon Hart?
Yes, Your Honor. Just regards to I don't want to have any contact with them myself. They don't even exist in my brain except that there's some people that live across the street. I do go there all the time. My dogs are there, and then my parents have resided there for 31 years since '93. And just the 1,000 feet thing, I just want to make sure I'm okay to go to the house that I spent the most time of my life and be all right doing that.
Just stop there for a second. So, what are you doing with those paper clips?
Marking.
Okay. What's your position on there? Apparently, Devin, he's your son?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Devin Hart is my son.
Great.
Yes.
And so he's asking to set, and as I said before, all this is held all at once. I've asked them because he's asking to set this over. I've asked them how they feel. Now, what's your position on this?
I stand firm to amicably resolve this today.
Well, there's an order in place.
I'll let them do it, and I'll stay then.
Amicably resolve my contents and contributions to the case. I'm prepared to slam dunk out of the way because at no point have I or will I ever attempt or try to make harm to anyone. And I'm prepared to provide any supporting evidence statement as the court sees fit and accepts for a judiciary review of this matter.
Okay. Two things. First of all, we're going to reset this for 2 weeks, and then everyone will come back then, and you're going to get reissues the orders, and I'll give all them right now. So an order is still in place. And I'm going to tell you another thing, ma'am. Just for a practice pointer, the terms amicably resolve and slam dunk should never be used in the same sentence. Because when you amicably resolve, just hear me speak and don't respond, please. When you say if you amicably respond something, that means you're going to work things out in a friendly manner. When you say I'm going to slam dunk things, that means I'm going to slam dunk my case on somebody else. So those are two entirely different things. So I just kind of want you to understand that. And did you get those paper clips out of that box?
I sure did.
Yeah.
Should I return the public?
Yeah, they just put
I was going to step outside and use them while I spoke to the clerk.
Okay. So
But
no,
I'm
if you
welcome
can,
and I can contribute.
just go ahead and just put them, put them where you got them. If you need them when you come back, you can do that. But for right now, go ahead and put the paper clips back in the box.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
And I'm encouraged to everybody's benefit, Mr. Hart, the things are going to remain as they are. And give me just a second. So, Mr. Hart, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so there's no distance restriction in terms of how far you need to stay away from them. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So there's nothing stopping to go to and from that house, but I think that's not necessarily what they're complaining about in terms of contact. So I just want to let you know that. And so I think you would be wise to conduct yourself in a manner which I think what they want. Don't be hanging around and all that other stuff. But I just want to let you know that. How many dogs do you have there?
I have 2 dogs there, and I've bred dogs for a while, and those are my kids. And then also my dad is undergoing radiation right now, so I am there sometimes to help him. And like I said, I have recently moved into my own apartment, but that's been my home and still my mailing address since '93.
Well, see, there's nothing to stop you from going there right now.
Okay,
and
that's
again,
all
I think I'm going to rely on you to be wise as to how you conduct yourself out there, because if there's any problems, I'm going to hear about it from them.
Yes,
so
they don't
think,
exist in my
how
head.
can I behave in a way that reflects best on me when we're back here? Why don't we go up next week? Okay.
Yeah, next week we're at 11 cases.
Okay. We'll be back here in 2 weeks, and so you'll get a court hearing here right now, and then the order that was in place remains.
Yes, Your Honor. And one question I just didn't understand or have seen before, that why the one with my mom and me are tied in. I thought that they were separate because I feel kind of bad that my mom was, came prepared to handle her part, and I'm helping a family member, immediate family member. So I just didn't understand how that was related.
Well, that's just, all this is kind of all the same parties are involved, and it's just been my experience over the years, handle everything all at once.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'm told that things have been calm, and let's have them remain calm.
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that, ma'am?
Strongly understand.
Thank you.
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
So Mr. Devon Hart, there are going to be copies of these orders. We're going to be on the be in the court file. Ms. Judith Hart's getting them right now, and then you'll get copies of all 4 orders. All right. And that's it for today. You're all free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
Just my response to your interpretation of the words used to exchange my rationality by saying I want to resolve this amicably and slam dunk. Please understand that there was no correlation to any type of demeaning or relationship to that, as if there was any type of forethought for any type of correlation, period. All I'm saying is I'm prepared to comply with the court today. And please.
Okay, I apologize if I misinterpreted what you said. I accept you. Thank you.
Case closed, sir.
Okay. Judith Hart, a copy of her too. And Ms. Hart, you can come up and take these and you're free to go.
Yes,
we'll see you here in 2 weeks. Again, I apologize if I misunderstood what you were saying. I didn't mean to.
Understood.
Come on up, you can take these.
On my way. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Wishing you an excellent day.
You too.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then,
Excuse me, I had a question. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you or.
Go ahead.
Ask, so since it's still gonna be in 2 weeks, does that mean I can still like file more
yes,
evidence?
you can.
Okay.
Both any parties and Mr. Devon Hart, just for your information, one of the Ramoses asked if they could file additional stuff, which they can, and you and your mother can too, if you wish to. Okay, so you guys can come on up. This is for both Ramoses?
Yes, they're all there for one of them.
Okay. Okay. So here, go ahead back there. Go ahead. I'll explain. Go ahead and go back in there in a minute. So what happened, Ms. Ramos, is, people can ask for judge. You get one chance. They can ask for a judge to be removed from a case. A litigant can. That happened in this case, and so I can't hear it. It's that simple. And so it's just going to get reset to the next, my rotation on this term ends on October 31st. And so the first available after that date is November 4th. These cases will be heard on that date by a different judge. And they will be heard on that date. There won't be any other disqualifications. You only get one. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, everybody's inconvenienced, but you're free to go. We'll see you back here on November 4th. When they've left it. Ms. Hart, you can come on up. The clerk will give you a copy of it also.
Proceeding, Your Honor.